on, everybody? How y'all doing? Oh man. Hey Francisca. I am so sorry I have not been able to check my email yet. But thank you so much. I appreciate you following up on that. And I think it was a huge misunderstanding and it's all good. And thank you so much for being the great month that you are. I appreciate you. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. How you doing, Texas Mother Bird? Y'all, I must say, I'm pretty excited about this live stream. As exhausted as I am. Because I saw a video where it was out of who Willie D Live or whomever that is had an attorney on his show. That attorney, I promise you all, said everything that I have been saying in my 2 live streams I've done on this Karmelo Anthony case so far. And mind you all, I have not been reporting on this or keeping up with it or anything. So it's okay, Francisco. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I just think there was just a huge misunderstanding. It's all good. It's all good. I'm sure they'll see, the chat. But we love all of you all up in here. Shout out to all the mods, all the members, supporters. What's going on, CC? How you doing? I appreciate all of you all. Come on in and hit that like button. And we got to get to it. We got some content to go over. And so this attorney, bar licensed attorney, said exactly what I have been saying. I am so excited to get to that video. But first, we got to check out a couple news clips about this appeal. I mean, everybody has the right to an appeal. And the appeal itself has to be based upon some finding of legal errors, such as a violation of law, violation of court rule, some omittance of evidence that was supposed to be presented and wasn't, that would greatly alter the outcome, meaning it's material to the case. Those are the things that qualify for an appeal. An appeal is not an opportunity to have a full brand new trial where it's completely changed and different from the trial that was conducted in the lower court. And sometimes with appeals, the whole case may be over, the whole ruling may be overturned where you get a full trial, or the judge may specify if there is a finding of legal errors that occurred in specific phases throughout the hearing, or throughout the trial rather, or certain evidence that should have been presented, then they'll specify what is being granted versus what's denied. So you can get a partial grant of an appeal just to address the legal errors that occurred. Does that make sense? Hit the phone. So, you got a whole lot of people in, of course, when you start watching YouTube videos, YouTube starts recommending everything related to that. So the few videos that I've seen outside of what I've played and covered here, you got a whole lot of people confused about how an appeal works. And they don't it's a simple Google search. Simple Google search. And all that I get and get some understanding. And you can't have understanding without knowledge. So you got to get that knowledge in and research. And you have a lot of people that really think that he'll be able to just get a whole brand new trial and it's going to be completely different and everything will be shown. No, that's no. And then they'll be disappointed because they fail to gain knowledge on how an appeal works, what will qualify, what would be considered, granted in an appeal, what this appellate legal defense team is going to be looking for, and if they don't understand that, they'll be mad and then, crime racism even we got to stop the race baiting with this. We got to stop it, because if it were the other way around, we would not First of all, many people would not even want, if it was the other way around, would not want the defendant to even think about filing an appeal, even though they have the right to it. But that's just in fairly applying the law across the board and understanding the rights that we all have. It doesn't mean that he's going to have the appeal granted, but he does have the right to file it. But if it were the other way around, it'll be a whole nother upheaval. Race has to be taken out the equation in order for the law and justice to prevail. Otherwise, you're almost demanding for it to be biased. And what if there is a situation where it's the other way around, where a white person murders a black person, and then you want the law and justice to prevail, and then you get this outcome that's similar to this, and now you're mad? No, the law has to be neutral and impartial across the board. Race baiting does nothing. It has zero sway in court, and it's something they're gonna have to keep learning the hard way. But understand what the appellate process means and what it involves. And so he has a legal defense team that is going to be handling his appeal, and they said they're doing this pro bono. So first thing I said was, where the hell were these people at when he was having this trial? This so-called dream legal team. Don't put these attorneys on a pedestal and expect miracles and wonders to be performed. Don't do that. Because then if the outcome is not what you expect to think, then you'll be disappointed. So be realistic and understand it's, if they are looking for legal errors or inaccuracies or anything, and let's say they don't get an appeal granted and it gets denied, that's because that's how the law works. It's just that simple. So, people got to understand how this man, boy, so many people gonna be disappointed. Then they'll be mad at that dream team talking about all these attorneys are incompetent. They don't know nothing. Coming from a bunch of people who did not go to law school. Can't make this up, man. Y'all know they're gonna sit here and keep saying it. If they don't get the appeal granted, then the attorneys are incompetent and stupid and they don't know anything. And they should have hired these attorneys and these attorneys. No. It was intentional. He murdered this boy, and that's it. And it was not self-defense. It's that simple. So, all right, y'all, let's get to this. Shout out to all of you all in here. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate you all tuning in. Colleen, what's going on? Y'all come on in, like Francisca said, and hit that like button. And make sure you guys are hyping up these videos. Please hype up these videos so that if this information can get out there. I don't come in from, a racial stance. I'm not even political. I come in as me. I'm Lady Luck Club, Queen of YouTube, and I have my opinion and thoughts and information, facts, things that we can all look up and research. That's what we do here. I'm not studying that whole racial thing because I want the law to be neutral and impartial. It's highly important that it stays that way. If not, then no one will be able to get a fair hearing. And no, we don't need our judicial branch of government collapsing. So let's get to this, y'all. What's going on, CC? How you doing, honey? Everybody speak to everybody. Y'all good? Erica, how you doing? Realtor? Y'all, we're a little early today. I love my RCs. Says thank you to whoever gifted memberships, probably Juju or Rosetta. Who knows? We've had a lot of great supporters come through and gift out memberships, and so make sure you take advantage of that and enjoy it. Cheryl, how you doing, honey? How's our LLC baby? Oh, she's so pretty. She's so precious. I love that baby. The only thing I noticed that prosecutors did, Hinkie was asked over and over if the witnesses thought it was self-defense. Yeah, because I mean that's the thing. I mean, if he's saying, I did it, but it was self-defense, now you have to kind of solidify the intent. And I think the more you have, because the testimony is evidence. Testimony is evidence. So the more testimony you have from different witnesses that are all coming in, and the baseline conclusion is that it was not self-defense. Now you have 15 different people saying this against this one defendant saying it was, and 15 people that were there said it was not. And then I do believe there's a 911 call. It's just heartbreaking to hear. It's going to be hard to listen to that. I don't think I've heard the 911 call, y'all. So, DMR said, already did. Yep, don't cry about Trayvon Martin and cry about Karmelo. I've been watching Asmongold steady lately. Yeah, he's pretty good. And he has a short little 2-3 minute video giving his spiel on it. And I do check him out. I subscribe to him. I do check him out. And for the most part, he gives his thoughts and opinion on things, and it's most of it I agree with. You know what I'm saying? And make it plain. What's going on, Charity? How you doing, honey? Nikki, how you doing? You good? Y'all ready? Make sure y'all Jeep lady. I see you up in here. Mark says Karmelo supporters are low IQ ignorant idiots. Oh Lord. They need to stop the race baiting. You got to stop. And if you don't know how appeals work or how jury selection works, going into somebody is all racist is old and tired. And it does not have any effect in the court of law. These are the same people that won't go out and vote. If you register to vote, you will be selected for jury duty. And then if you serve for jury duty, then you end up serving on a jury for these types of cases. You don't know what case you're going to be serving on until you check in for jury duty. They don't just tell you this stuff up front like that. And they do that because they don't want you to have a preconceived notion about anything. The jurors should be impartial and neutral. They're the ones that have to deliberate and give a ruling, especially in criminal matters where it's a matter of your liberty and freedom at stake. Sometimes your life, if they're seeking the death penalty. So you don't want an impartial, you don't want a jury that is biased or to be hand selected based on race. That's not what you want. Because then, even if there were no black people on there were people on the jury that were not Caucasian. So it wasn't an all white jury, but yet they're not putting out that fact, and they decrying this racism thing. It's like, no. How many black people are out here saying this was not self-defense? We saw the video evidence. It's not self-defense. And the video we're going to check out from Willie D Live, I'm not very familiar with his channel like that, but he had an attorney on there that nailed it. I mean, he had been saying the same things I said in the last 2 live streams. Technically 3 if we consider the one where I reacted to Umar's dumbass nonsense about this. Oh, God. And Umar tells people not to register to vote. So if you listen to Umar and you don't register to vote, then you will never be selected for jury duty where you can be on a jury for a criminal matter like this. Because that's how that works. Bottom line. The verdict is not going to just fall in your lap and go the way you want it to. You actually need to go serve on jury. Serve jury duty. It's your civic duty. Register to vote. I mean, it's that simple. Don't listen to Umar. He's an idiot. Jesus. No, you can't use a knife on an unarmed guy. Yeah, he didn't. There was no fight. There was no, he jumped me. He had me in a headlock. We didn't see none of that. Child boot. We didn't see none of that. And we watched about 3 or 4 different videos that were used as evidence in the actual trial hearing. And along with the testimony, which is also evidence, child, it was just overwhelming. All right, y'all. Let's get to this. Let me put some music on right quick because I have to have some music in the background. I don't know about you all. And then we'll kind of go down the list with the the news coverage on this. All right, and then we got to get to this Willie D. Lock because I love this attorney. I saw the video and I was like, oh, I got to play this one. But let's get to this. Y'all hit the 4 where you can see it here. Let's go.
A judge has released video evidence in a teen athlete murder case. Karmelo Anthony was convicted and sentenced to 35 years for the fatal stabbing of another teen, Austin Metcalf, during a Texas high school track meet last year. A judge released images of the murder weapon, video of the stabbing and aftermath, along with emotional 911 calls from the victim's brother. In one video, you actually hear Anthony admitting to that stabbing.
It's the alleged suspect. I'm not alleged.
Anthony's attorneys claim he stabbed Metcalf in self-defense. They have filed a notice to appeal his conviction. ABC News legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer joins me now to talk about this. Brian, great to see you. Why was this evidence revealed now?
Stephanie, thanks for having me. So if you recall, throughout this trial, we saw very little in the means of evidence in this case. It's not like many of the high-profile cases where we had cameras inside the court and we could live stream it or watch it day by day. And this is a case that garnered a lot of attention, both within the community as well as the nation as a whole. And so I think for the effort of transparency, for the purpose of having an open and public court, as the Constitution suggests that it should have, the interpretation that the judge went with here is not to have cameras in court during the trial, but to release the evidence afterwards so people can get a greater understanding of what happened in this case, what happened in the verdict, and of course in the sentencing, even if they weren't sitting in the court themselves.
So could this evidence impact the appeal?
Yeah, so I think this information, and probably information that was not used, is definitely going to affect the appeal. You're going to hear a lot of the arguments coming forward with this defense, some of the boilerplate kind of typical appellate arguments that the judge made an error in admitting some evidence or not admitting other pieces of evidence, that the prosecution made errors in the way that they handled the case. And even if Anthony decides to get a new attorney for the appeal, you might even hear ineffective assistance of counsel claims against the defense attorney themselves. The evidence that we're seeing is going to be scrutinized and argued throughout the appellate process to see if mistakes were made and if a different verdict or different sentence should have been rendered.
Yeah, this case has certainly garnered a lot of attention. Brian, thank you very much for joining us.
All right.
This is the body cam footage of Karmelo Anthony, which is like really crazy. At 2.
Yeah, this is Asmongold. Like I said, he has 2 channels, one for Asmongold and then Asmongold Clips. But he kind of goes over the video evidence that was released, that was shown to the jury. And so he kind of gives his thoughts. I mean, I'd like to try to get different perspectives on things. But if it doesn't make sense or if it's not even factually correct, I will always give my objection to it. And we don't all have to agree on everything. But what he said here was just plain and simple. And as opposed to people having a fundamental understanding of how these matters are heard in court, how laws work, the selection process, the appeal process, it's just all emotions. And you can't really, your emotions don't dictate how the law is interpreted and enforced in the courts. It's just not. Now, to say that the judge and jury are not going to be humane or, understand the aspect of humanity is unrealistic. But at the end of the day, the instructions to the jury will always be that your deliberation and your ruling, the outcome should be based upon the finding of fact, law, and evidence. Or else we would have a kangaroo court and nothing would ever get done the right way.
15, you hear Karmelo crying like a baby. He put his hands on me. I didn't do nothing. He put his hands on me. Okay, let's watch it.
If somebody is shooting the victim,
so this is the...
Don't reach for anything, all right, man? Stop right there for me. Dispatch 443. I got the suspect.
Oh, there he is.
They're currently treating the victim. Again, he's on the north end of the stadium.
It's not raining anymore? Well, clearly wasn't either. That's why his shirt's barely wet.
You can open up the channel.
Uh-oh.
There's gonna be a gate that's wide open there, and then you come to the victim from there.
Holy shit.
Memorial tent's over there, guys. All right.
He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me. He crying? I told him not to, and then I stabbed him. So this is the footage of it happening right here. I'm waiting to see it. What the fuck? So we just ran away? What the fuck? And then people are like, hey man, where are you going? Didn't you just stab somebody? What happened? A soft push and then a stab happened at the 1 minute mark. Okay, let's see if I can find it. And then he just immediately stabbed him. And oh my God, you can't just stab somebody who pushes you. Well, the thing is, like, this guy just stabbed somebody because he went into their tent. He wouldn't leave. I'm not alleged. I did it. Wait, what does he say?
It's the alleged suspect. Okay.
I'm not alleged. I did it. Pretty, yeah. All right. Well, actual knife used to murder Austin Metcalf. Okay, this is just a pretty simple, like, yeah. She said it wasn't a deadly weapon.
Wait a minute. Was it a switch? I don't know what he had. It was like it seemed like it was a multi-tool, almost like a Swiss Army. Like with like with the little scissors and everything and whatever. So it was small. Well, I would have argued the size of it alone. You wouldn't even think it's a deadly weapon.
Yeah. Well, it sure seems like it is.
Wait, no. Wait, hold on. What?
Like, yeah. She said it wasn't a deadly weapon.
Wait a minute. Was it a switch? I don't know what he had. It was like it seemed like it was a multi-tool, almost like a Swiss Army. Like with like with the little scissors and everything and whatever. So it was small. Well, I would have argued the size of it alone. You wouldn't even think it's a deadly weapon.
Yeah. Well, it sure seems like it is. If it.
Where the scissors at? It's just a regular switchblade knife. You pull up the blade. It's long enough to penetrate and go through. And it went through his chest, through the muscles, through the rib cage, into his heart. What do you mean? It was long enough to do that type of damage. Does she not understand how human anatomy works? You all know where a human heart is, right? You can take a fist, ball it up, and put it right here. That's kind of how the heart sits in your body. Like right here. It's almost more to the left and the right, but that's where it is. You still have lungs and then major blood vessels and everything. Above it, you have your rib cage and muscle tissue. It's not a whole lot that, you got to, like, going through my arm is going to be harder than, like my arm. It's going to be harder than just going to my heart. Because aside from the muscle and cartilage, rib cage, the heart's right here. So, first off, you don't bring a weapon on school campus. 1, 2, you could be arrested for doing that because the law does allow the police to arrest you if you bring a weapon onto a school campus. 3, why did he have this? Why did he have this? And then he pulled it out with the intent to use it, but simply tried to say that it was in self-defense. But he pulled it out of his bag with the intent to use it, as opposed to just, let me just slap back and, he pulls out this weapon that he should have never had in the first place. Why would he need that? I wouldn't let my 17-year-old take a knife with him in his backpack to school. For what? You can't make this shit up. And he pulls it out with the intention to use it. And then he used it. It's absolutely insane. It would be different if Austin Metcalf had it, used it, and he got it out of his hand and used it right back. No, he pulled it out of his damn backpack at a track meet. What the hell goes on at a track meet now? Maybe I'm old. I guess track meets are places where you gotta act like you at the OK Corral or something like that. Bringing knives to a track meet must be the equivalent of bringing a gun to a gunfight. Was there supposed to be a duel and I missed it? It's a track meet at a high school. He in his senior year and he does some stupid shit like that. And you mean to tell me this doesn't classify as a deadly weapon? The object itself that you use to apply deadly force that takes someone's life automatically becomes a deadly weapon. Who the hell is this girl? Who is that? Who the chick talking? Who the chick talking? What's her name? Who's that talking?
Killed him, right?
If it was one of the little
man. And again, why are they defending
Jasmine Crockett? Girl, stop, girl. Absolutely not. That's not how a deadly weapon is defined. She's in Congress. That's not how deadly weapon is defined to be. A deadly weapon is simply the object that you use to apply that deadly force that caused the physical bodily injury and harm, and in this situation led to a death. It led to a loss of life. That is what defines this weapon to be a deadly weapon. Someone was killed from the application of this damn weapon that he should have never had. And I don't care if any other child had a weapon, they should all have been reported to the police, period. It's that simple. You're not going to sit here and say, well, the white kids had a knife too, but they didn't use it to stab anybody. What the hell are we talking about? We're not comparing apples to solar systems. It's incomparable. And she's sitting here saying, oh, well, that doesn't qualify as a deadly weapon because the blade is not long enough. It was long enough to be damaging and lead to someone losing their life. It penetrated through his chest, rib cage, muscle, into the heart. And the force you have to use to go through that muscle, bone, tissue into the heart. You can't make this up. You have to have a considerable amount of force to even make that type of injury into someone like that. And he only used it. He only stabbed him once. Oh, this is ridiculous. Oh my God. So all of a sudden she's trying to redefine the definition of a deadly weapon. Are you kidding me when that can be Googled? You can Google what is a deadly weapon defined to be in the eyes of the law and in the court. You can Google this information. Once again, people don't want to read and research shit. They just want to walk around and be ignorant. So, okay.
Him because they are black and he is black, which I think is really stupid.
Crazy.
The majority of people that are victims of, people that get killed by black people are other black people. So why are you trying to run defense for somebody who could have stabbed you too? So I don't even know why they're defending this shit. It's so stupid. I guess I'm missing the part 4 where 4 white boys were giving Karmelo a beatdown. Again, everybody knew that isn't what happened, right? I mean, obviously that's not what happened. Ladies and gentlemen, 70 billions, advocate for the Anthony family. You can clearly see Karmelo Anthony being attacked under the canopy. This is why we'll keep fighting until he's free. Why are you dwelling on the story? This is America. Fools are dropping every day. The reason why I'm dwelling on the story.
Why are you dwelling on this story? Because we get to. These dumbass bots think they run some. No, you're just running letters across a keyboard. Like, we don't give a fuck how you feel. That's a heads up to everybody. I don't care how you feel. And it's so crazy because I have not been reporting on this My supporters and members, the Luxers, asked me to cover this. Y'all asked me to cover the video evidence, and I did. That's it. This isn't about race baiting and none of that. Pure application of law. I don't sit here and my opinion is based on the law itself. Information that I'm putting out, this can be researched in Google. You can look up what is a deadly weapon defined to be in court in the eyes of the law. That's exactly what it's going to be. It could have been a baseball bat. It doesn't matter. If they running track, that track shoes had these little spikes at the bottom. It could have been a track shoe. If you use it and it caused deadly force, you use deadly force with a track shoe, and someone lost their life because of it, then that shoe becomes a deadly weapon. That's what it's defined to be. But the fact that you have school policies that say you should not bring weapons like a knife or a gun on campus. I mean, why? Why have it? If you have to go to a track meet at a school you don't attend, because logic and wisdom says if it's not your school and you feel like you got to carry a knife to this track meet at a different school, then you need to stay your dumb ass at home. So perhaps Karmelo Anthony should have kept his black ass at home, since everybody wants to hear him talk about he black. I know he's black. He could have kept his black ass at home if he felt like he had to go to a track meet with a knife. Because I don't know, I can't compute that. Why you need to go to a track meet with a knife in your bag? None of the kids should have weapons there. And if they have it, they should be reported and expelled. The end. Simple. This was not his home school. That's my understanding of this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was this his home school? This was a visiting school, right? He did not attend this school. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I'll wait. Was it his home school? Okay, cool. Thank you, Erica. This was not his home school. So he didn't have to go to that school. That means he didn't have to go to that damn track meet, which means he could have kept his black ass at home or went to work. Go cut some grass. If you got to go to a track meet and you got to carry this switchblade knife on a school campus where you have clear policies that says you cannot bring weapons to school, knives, guns, anything they perceive to be a weapon, don't bring that shit here. You're not here to stab people with knives. You're here to learn. And in order to create a safe environment for all the students, teachers, staff, and everybody else, don't bring your bullshit weapons. Because if you decide to become a hothead and you get into a little kerfluffle, that kerfluffle, boy, you get into a kerfluffle with another kid, as opposed to you just using a fist or a hand, and you want to pull out a weapon, and then you take someone's life. This case is the epitome of why you don't bring weapons to school. It's that simple. We're not excusing it. I don't care whose child it is. Don't bring weapons to school. He had a weapon, and he actually used it, and he took someone's life. And if he felt he had to bring a knife to someone else's school he was not enrolled in, and couldn't handle an argument because obviously he has an anger problem and he lacks self-control and discipline, he does not know how to de-escalate. If he did that, he should have stayed his black ass at home, because he didn't have to go. You got to go to school and get an education. You don't have to go to a track meet. That's an option. That's not a mandate. You can stay at home, go to work, go do something else. You don't have to go. You don't go to a track meet with a weapon on that school campus, and it's not even your school. You can't make this up. If you gotta start doing that, you gotta go to track meets, basketball, football games, and have weapons. Then don't go to the damn game. Don't go. It's required that you go to class and get good grades and pass your tests, do your homework and study. That's the requirement. Attending school. You're not required to go to a track meet. It's that simple. And I'm not going to sit here and excuse any kid bringing a weapon on campus, because look what happens when these kids get hot-headed and they know how to go and move and sit somewhere else. And then you daring somebody to touch me if you want, see what happens. Punch me and see what happens. So you daring someone to do this, you provoking them, and you take the time to pull out a knife out your backpack as opposed to you getting your ass up and walking away. Can't make this up. Why should that excuse his lack of home training and lack of discipline and self-control? He's 17 going on 18 years old when this happened. You can't grow up and go out into the world, become independent and on your own and think this is how you solve conflict. What if he was a grown adult, 21 years old, working somewhere, and then he decided to have a knife in his pocket? Somebody get mad at him, touch me and see what happens. Punch me, see what happens. And he at work. You can't act like that in the real world. It'll be just like the Purge. You can't just walk around here, go stabbing people in the chest because you don't like them telling you to get up and not sit here. That's not how you handle that. Even if you don't like them telling you to get up, if it means I'm going to walk away with my liberty and freedom, and this person still gets to live to see a new day, and we don't even have to put hands on each other, let me just get up and move. Because this isn't worth it. You can't teach your kids that's how, oh yeah, no, if somebody messes with you, stab them in the chest. What you mean? Yeah, they're bound for prison. And the prison they shall be a-going. Yeah, no, raise your kids if you want to think the best way to handle things, somebody put their hand on you, you should shoot them. What you talking about? They're going to go to prison for the rest of their life. They might get the death penalty. Can't make this up.
Is it highlights a massive double standard and an inconsistency inside of primarily the African-American community, where they enable and try to draw excuses for bad actors and criminals because of some perceived solidarity because of skin color. This guy could have stabbed you. So that's the big problem that I have, is that whenever you have a demographic in the country that is exhibiting own group preference by such an extreme degree, despite all pieces of evidence, data, and information completely indicating the opposite, I think you've got a really big problem. I think you've got a huge problem.
Yeah, I hit that like button.
You want more black people to get out of jail? Y'all sit for jury duty. That's what you do. Stop trying to pretend like your mama's sick and you got to go to work.
Yeah, this is it. This guy right here is an attorney. And this guy in the red, he's Willie D. Live. Attorney Dennis Sperling. So he went to law school, passed the bar, and spoke truth to power when we here for it. I've seen this video once. Oh, everything I have said so far about this case, he literally said it in this 15-minute video, 14-minute video. Coming from an attorney. Because logic and common sense is what's missing in this whole situation. And just a fundamental, like a lack of fundamental understanding of the law. In certain parts of criminal procedure. I mean, just basic common sense. People trying to make excuses for this. It's like, no. You sound stupid. Whoever that Jasmine Crockett sounds, Gary, you know damn well a weapon a deadly weapon is not based on how long the blade is on a knife. It could have been a razor blade. If he was able to use a razor blade to take someone's life, that's a deadly weapon. It's that simple. Oh my God. So let's get to this, y'all.
You got a medical condition that won't let you sit for jury. Stop ignoring. That's what you do.
There you go. Oh, he's so good.
Willie D Live.
The reason why we're here is because you have white guys like Austin Metcalf who think that their whiteness self-deputizes them. They think that they have control over black bodies and they can make black people do this and that. Move, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. Let me see your key. I've never seen you around here. Get away from here. Get from under here. Move around and all this type of stuff. And that is a big problem all around this country, and that needs to be addressed too. See, you can't address one without addressing the other. If Austin has respect for Karmelo and his right to exist and not try to become the
Ooh, Willie D. Ooh, you so ignorant. Let me tell you something. I gave this analogy in the first live, I think. If you go to the park and you reserve a space, you reserve 5 tables. Let's say you paid for it. And then you have everything set up. It is clearly an indication that this is your space. You've got tablecloths on the table. You clean and sterilize and sanitize everything. You got food laid out. You got people there. Let's say you got 5 tables. One of the tables only have like 1 or 2 people sitting there. If some random family, you don't know these people, you don't know who they are, they don't go to that school, decide to sit at that table, aren't you going to go over there and tell them, hey, we reserved this table and we paid for it. So this is our table that we have reserved for us. You can't sit here. Because for that moment, that is your space you reserved and designated for you and your people. And you paid for it. You mean to tell me somehow I'm challenging your right to exist on earth? Because I'm telling you, I reserved and paid for this table for this time frame. And you cannot sit here because I have people coming that will be sitting here. 2 people sitting here already. Because Austin Metcalf and his brother and a few others were already under that tent that Karmelo Anthony did not own, did not reserve. He did not attend that school, and that tent did not belong to him. And they have a reserved spot of all places in the bleachers. You know, because the aliens were taking up all the other spots in the bleachers. Because, good God, you think this was, no, it's like basic common sense and human decency. You think I'm going to let someone come and sit at a table I reserved and paid for, clean, sterilized, sanitized, I decorated it, I put it up. I got 2 people sitting here already, and this random family of 5 come over trying to take over my table. You don't think I'm going to go to them and say, I reserved this table, I paid for it, get your ass up and go away? Why should I have to sit here and negotiate with them? I paid for it, I reserved it. So between 2 and 5, this is my damn table. I don't know you. I didn't invite you over here. Get up and go. Now I'm supposed to get shot in the chest for that? And I want some answers in the chat. Yes or no? Somehow I'm supposed to be shot in the head for that? for telling these people I paid for this table. I reserved it for these hours. This has nothing to do with your right to exist on earth. Keep living and breathing. I'm not challenging that. I'm just telling you, I paid for this table. I reserved it. Me and my 2 people, I got 2 people here, and I got 4 other tables of family members. And this random stranger family come up and sit their happy black asses down. They sit their happy black asses down at my table. I reserved and paid for this time frame. Does that warrant them to shoot me in the head? Where's the common sense? Where is the common sense in that? I should be scared to tell these people, can you please get up off my table? I reserved for this space. You can't sit here. This is my table. I reserved it from 2 to 5. I've already paid for it. And then they sit there and look at me like, touch me, see what happens. Punch me, see what happens. Why are we going there? What do you mean touch you, see what happens? Punch you, see what happens? What you mean? We're not doing this. What kind of response is that? What kind of response is that to me going to this complete stranger, this family of 5 sitting at my table I reserved and paid for, all for 3 hours? If I'm telling you this is reserved for my track meet, for my team, after the track meet, you can sit wherever you want to sit. But for right now, this is our reserved space. So you got to get up. And the response is, touch me, see what happens. Punch me, see what happens. What you mean? What kind of response is that? He could have got his ass up and left. They telling him we reserved this spot. This is our tent. He doesn't go to that school. That tent does not belong to him. And you got space and opportunity around the tent to sit anywhere else. It is not my fault that someone told you all you can't stand underneath the bleachers. But you can't sit under this tent because this is reserved for this track meet. And his response was, touch me, see what happens. Punch me, see what happens. He was told 15 times to get up and he didn't. He just ignored everybody like they want to tell him, can you get up? This is reserved. Who are you? So if I take that same example back to my table that I reserved and paid for, between 2 and 5, I go to this family and say, I paid for this table. I reserved it. I got food here. We got a couple people sitting here. Y'all can't sit here. Now, after 5 o'clock, you can come over here because we're gone. My reservation spot will be done at 5. But from between 2 and 5, these are my tables. I paid for it. I cleaned them off. We got it decorated. You cannot sit here. And these idiots look at me and tell me, touch me, see what happens. Punch me, see what happens. After I've had to tell them 15 times to get their F up. What you mean? What kind of response is that? And I'm sitting here saying, I reserved for this. I paid for this. Y'all can't sit here. Y'all got to go somewhere else. Go away. By the 15th time, wouldn't you be frustrated trying to get this idiot to understand you can't sit here? 15 times. What does that have to do with him having any effect on his right to exist? You can go exist somewhere else. Take your happy black ass and go exist somewhere else. You can go and exist all day over there. Go slide over one bleacher. Go exist in another bleacher. Same thing would apply with this example. This family can go exist at another table, but not at the 5 that I reserved and paid for between 2 and 5. How does that warrant the response of touch me, see what happens, punch me, see what happens, and then they trying to shoot me in the head? How the hell you mean? Well, everybody else got guns and knives out there, Lady Luck Club. I don't give a damn. I care about the one that used this knife to stab this child in the heart. That led to a loss of life. Because it's funny how even if other people had knives out there, they didn't all pull them out and go stabbing each other. They didn't go pull out that knife and go stabbing around each other. Nobody walked up to Karmelo Anthony with their knife and stabbed him back. No one walked up to Karmelo Anthony and stabbed him back. Once again, no one walked up to Karmelo Anthony and stabbed him back. Funny how these kids can understand there's just certain things you don't do. I didn't see any other child run up to Karmelo Anthony trying to stab him back. You know, because these weird asses want you to think, oh, well, the white kids did it, why he can't do it? Because it's a violation of school policy. And they can all be arrested and kicked out and expelled. Why would you want a child to bring a knife to a school? And your kid go, see, I have kids in high school. So it bothers me as a parent to have to think like kids are bringing weapons like this to school that can cause serious bodily harm and injury. And you have school policies that says, don't bring this shit up in here. And as opposed to them being there to learn and being in an environment where they can learn and not have to worry about their safety being at risk every day because you got some kid walking around with a knife in their backpack because for some reason, you know, he just was like, if somebody touches me or punches me, I'm just going to stab him in the chest. You mean? That's not an appropriate response to someone saying, can you get up and leave? This area is reserved. This is not your umbrella. No one called them over there. Lying about that bullshit does not work. And he could have literally slid over one bench to another bleacher and sat and existed in his blackness in another bleacher. Stop it, I say. Him getting up and walking away would not change the fact that he's still black, but he still would have his liberty and freedom. No one's saying that he can't exist in his blackness. I'm saying his response to someone asking him to leave an area reserved for that team. They attended that school, he didn't, and then he didn't even have to be there. This is not like a class or something. He's not doing this for a grade. It's not like a requirement to graduate. This is an option. This is a sport activity. This is extracurricular. And you bring in knives to a track meet. His response was completely out of control and intentional. And the moment he pulled that knife out of his backpack, he knew what he was doing. And he had already planned to use it. Intent doesn't have to be something you plan hours in advance. Intent is you simply thinking to do something and then you do it when there are other options. The other option would have been for him to get his ass up and walk away. And he did not do that. And you got morons that think that if I reserve a table and pay for it between the hours of 2 and 5, and a family comes up and they sit at that table and I tell them they can't sit here because I reserved it and paid for it. Hey, because everybody else got knives and guns at the park. I guess being shot in the head over that shit is okay. Can't make this up. Oh no, because someone is challenging my right to exist as a black woman. Out of here.
A damn tent enforcer? We're not here. And there's a lot of dudes that do that. A lot of these dudes behave that way because they believe the system is going to protect them. And they also believe that black people will not fight back. That is the reason why he did it in the first place. You don't see black people doing that. You never hear about black people walking up to white people saying you don't belong here.
I hear black people walking up to black people saying you don't belong here.
You're right about that. And that's bad.
Look, Willie, I'm not. Bullying has been around since.
You're absolutely right about that.
How's that bullying if I walk up to this family, these complete strangers I don't know, that is sitting at a table I reserved and paid for a specific time frame, and tell them that they cannot sit there? How is that bullying? So the definition of bullying has changed since this murder has occurred last year. Somehow Willie D doesn't know what bullying is defined to be. You know, bullying involves a pattern of behavior. And that is how it's defined in the courts, in the eyes of the law. Going to that person and saying, you can't sit here, I paid and reserved for this table, is not bullying. It's not challenging their right to exist as Black people. It's simply telling them, I paid for this, right now I own it, and you need to go. I don't know, we don't know who you are. And as opposed to them leaving, they're sitting here ignoring me, and then got the audacity to say, touch me, see what happens. Punch me, see what happens. Oh, okay, now keep sitting there. Hello, 911? Yeah. It's 5 Black people sitting at my table because I'm Black too, and they somehow think I'm challenging their Blackness and bullying. I paid for a table and reserved it. I'm standing here with the general manager of this park. I got my receipt. I told these people to leave. They don't want to leave, and they just dared me to punch them and touch them and see what happens. That's a threat. Y'all need to come and get their ass, because I'm not doing this. Yeah, no, I'm calling 911. We're going to keep living. And then they're going to get removed and probably trespassed. See how that works? Who knew one of them going to try to pull out a gun and shoot me in the head? No, but you know, it's bullying if you just walk up to them and tell them, listen, I reserved this space here. Why you can't sit anywhere else? All these bleachers, boy, all those empty bleachers. I told y'all listen, there was a bunch of transparent aliens that was sitting in the bleachers, taking up space. Carmelo Anthony didn't have anywhere else to sit because all the invisible aliens were sitting around and crowding get up. His legs gave out. It was like spaghetti legs. He couldn't get up and walk his ass away. But when he stabbed Austin Metcalf in the chest, all of a sudden he can get up, leave, and run away. Funny how that body seems to work when you know you just effed up. No, he can run his happy ass away. Them legs seem to be working now. But you can get your ass up and go sit somewhere else. Yeah, okay.
Bullying's been around. This is not something that's germane to one race or other.
It's my spot.
Look, it's part of human nature. We got kids who are bullies. Oftentimes, kids who are bullied themselves. But the way you fix the bully is you punch them right in the nose, and then they learn their lesson. Now, we can't do that like we used to do it back in the day. So go ahead and call the police, put some people on them. But the bottom line is this is not. Look, there's plenty of racial issues we can talk about, but this issue, I think the adults have injected race into this. I think the adults who play the racist game, these are two kids, basically two young men. I mean, both of them play football. They play for opposite teams.
I mean, because, if they really wanted to just have a fist fight, they could have just had a fist fight. Like, you can't make this up. I'm not advocating for either one of them to put their hands on each other because it's still battery. That could still lead to expulsion and them being arrested and charged with battery. But how do you go from, if he puts his hand on me, I'm going to put my hands back on him, to he puts his hands on me, I'm going to pull out a whole knife and I'm just going to stab him in the chest. So you're a punk. Got people believing that somehow he impeded upon your right to exist when you walked your Black ass over there and you weren't invited. It was not your tent. This is not your school. You didn't even have to be there. Go figure. He could have just been at home or went home. I ain't got nowhere to sit and I don't want to get wet. Let me go home because this is a track meet. This is an algebra class. This is not required for me to graduate. Kidding me?
Carmelo Anthony wasn't just under the tent being quiet. He was under there talking stuff, so he wasn't scared. Look, let me tell you, we always talk about Karmelo was scared. Karmelo was under there saying, touch me again. That don't sound like scary to me.
Thank you.
Like I wish you would to me.
He don't have to be a coward to defend himself.
Yeah, but it don't mean
that defense didn't match what occurred. It's not proportional force. And it's unreasonable and it's not justified. That is why he's in prison for 35 years. This man over here is an attorney. Did y'all hear what he just said? Because I've been saying this. When he said, touch me, see what happens, punch me, see what happens, you are no longer in fear of your life. You are actually provoking them to batter you. Because battery is simply physical touch. It's the contact. You're welcoming battery into the situation where you could just get your ass up and walk away. Are you kidding me? Let this attorney tell it, since he went to law school and I didn't. So I love being proven right. This attorney just, he take the word out of my mouth.
We always talk about Karmelo was scared. Ooh. Karmelo was under there saying, touch me again. That don't sound like scary to me.
It's not.
That sound like I wish you would to me.
He don't have to be a coward to defend himself.
He was
but it don't mean he was afraid. So you can't say I was afraid for my life if you weren't afraid.
Thank you.
That's the thing. And that's why the whole self-defense, if you're afraid for your life to the point that you have to use deadly force to protect your life, that's one thing. But Karmelo Anthony, and that's just one little piece of evidence. I'm sitting in here, I'm under this tent, I'm talking stuff. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Your team is ass. That's what he said about Austin Metcalf's football team, and he played for another team. And then he said, touch me again. That don't sound like fear to me.
That's not.
I know what fear sounds like, and that doesn't sound like fear. And so, this is what the jury heard. And so
and you got to understand how it will apply in a court of law. What does the law define to be you're in fear of your life? What factors are you looking for in order for that requirement for that to stick, for that defense to stick? Where you're saying, I was in fear of my life, but you telling them, touch me, see what happens, punch me, see what happens. So it was more than enough for you to say, touch me, see what happens, to show that you're not afraid of them. But then you go and say, punch me and see what happens. You're not in fear, you're provoking. Now it's provocation. You're welcoming some form of physical altercation. For what? Over a seat. This is why he's in prison.
Always have to go back to, was this verdict valid? Did they have evidence to substantiate the elements necessary to prove murder? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes, and it's going to remain yes. Now we can pick apart what they saw, what weight they gave each piece of evidence. But the question is, when the appellate court looks at this, they're going to say, well, we think that the verdict is valid. Now, had you had 2 or 3 black jurors on there, you might have got a holdout. They may have come to a determination. Look, we don't believe murder, but we will agree with manslaughter. So we can come to that consensus and get a unanimous agreement. We'll do manslaughter. That's the point of having a black juror in there, because it only takes one to hold out to get a hung jury. And so had you had 3 black people on the jury, and remember, this wasn't an all-white jury. I think it wasn't an all-white jury. It was other people, but my understanding was no black people. But that's why they wanted to get rid of the black jurors, because they might have held out for manslaughter. There was no way this young man was going to be exonerated and go home that day. He was going to go to prison. The question was manslaughter or murder. A black juror may have made them hold out, and you're going to sit in this room. We're not going to be here for 4 hours.
I don't know what black juror would have did that, because, I mean, if I was on the jury, I was like, no, that's murder. The law defines what you require to fulfill that charge. And he was not acting in self-defense. You provoking someone to physically have an altercation with you and daring them to put their hands on you. You're not scared. You can just get up and leave. If you get up and leave and then they come behind you and they chasing you. You know, they sitting here taunting you while you walking away. That's one thing. That's not what happened. He kept sitting there, and he could have just gotten up. I'm not gonna sit anywhere where I'm afraid of my life. I'm gonna walk over here to all these big ass kids to a tent that's not mine at a track meet I don't have to be at, and it's raining. I'm just gonna sit here, and then they're gonna tell me 15 times to get up, and I'm gonna keep sitting there and then dare them to put their hands on me. No part of that was he in fear of his life, and that's just common sense and logic. Period. He did not have to go there. He passed by 2 other tents. Why he didn't go sit at the other tent? That was the first one or the second tent. This was the 3rd tent. Why he didn't go to the 2nd tent? See, these are the questions that are asked because you're trying to find out, was there no other way for this conflict to be resolved? Were there no other options for him? There were several options for him. 1, he didn't have to go to the track meet because it's a damn track meet. 2, he could have went to another tent. 3, he could have just sat somewhere else. 4, even if he went to that tent and they told him to get up 15 times, he could have got his ass up. 5, he didn't have to pull out a weapon. 6, he didn't even have to bring a weapon. I mean, it's like 6 options right there. You being in fear of your life means you don't put yourself in a situation and then provoke people to actually attack you. And when they put their hands on you, now you want to sit here and try to justify your response, which is unreasonable, taking their life, using a weapon you shouldn't have, when you did not have to go to that tent in the first place, or you could have gotten up and walked away. And they would not have followed him. If he would have got up and walked away, they would not have followed him. And there was no jumping or fight going on underneath that tent. None. Because these dumbasses don't know what a fight looks like. If they think all these big ass boys somehow were fighting, that's not a fight. Look at what a fight is. Well, I've never known people. It must have been a virtual fight. No reply. Obviously, they were fighting each other in their minds because somehow it didn't physically manifest. That was not a fight. I saw a push, and then he stabbed him, and then he ran off. They were not fighting. He was not in the headlock or a chokehold or any position where, after the first time they tell you, get your ass up and leave. This is reserved. This is not your tent. You can't sit here. You could have just left because, all of a sudden you're afraid for your life. No, you just got caught stabbing somebody in the chest and you're trying to justify it. Nope. 15 times, get up? No. How many times does his parents have to tell him, clean your room? Clean your room. You need to clean your room. Karmelo, clean your room. It seems like his parents have to tell him 15 times to clean his damn room. And then he probably is going to dare them. Why don't y'all come in here and spank me and see what happens? Just take the same scenario and apply it to any other situation here. Imagine, if you will, he's at home and his parents tell him 15 times, clean your room, clean your damn room. Well, pick that stuff up. You need to get them track cleats off the floor. You need to put that helmet up and that jersey, that football team stuff. You need to make up your bed. You need to change your sheets. Come get your laundry. They got to tell him to do stuff around the house 15 times. How would you feel and I want all parents to think about this. You tell your kids to do basic chores. You got to tell them repeatedly over and over again. At some point, you're going to get really annoyed. Me personally, I'm like, I shouldn't have to tell you no more than once because you're not paying no bills up in here. And I'm the mama. His parents got to tell him to do something 15 times, and then the audacity of him to say, y'all come in here and beat me if you want to, see what happens. Raise a belt to me if you want to, see what happens. What did he just say? You can't. Did he just say raise a belt to me if you want and see what happens? Ooh. Is that what his home life is like? Because it seems like he's not. It's not his first time daring somebody to put their hands on him. He wanted to be tough shit. And you can only imagine what is permitted to go on at home. Because they had to tell him 15 times, look, you can't sit here. This is not your tent. We got our team reserved here. You need to get up. We got people coming. You can't sit over here. Who are you? You can imagine how many times his parents probably had to tell him at home, clean his damn room. Karmelo, get up. You got to go to school. Get up. Boy, get your behind up. Like, you can imagine it. After a while, it's frustrated. What you mean? Him being defiant and hard-headed, that seems like that's how he is. But to sit here and to pull out a knife and stab somebody in the chest because they put a hand on your shoulder. It wasn't a fight. It wasn't a jumping. It was a nothing. And if you want to know what some kids that play football look like fighting each other, look at a video of kids fighting each other. That ain't it.
It's going to be here for 4, 5, 10, 15 days. And when you have somebody who kicks back on their heels, plants their feet in the sand, say, no, I don't believe it's murder. I believe it's self-defense. We can do manslaughter. And then, but that was the reason why they wanted to get rid of those black jurors. And that's why I think it'll be overturned. But that's the only reason. I think the verdict was valid. However, the jury played a part in it. And as they always say, you know the outcome of a case after voir dire, after the jury is impaneled. And in this particular case, same thing with O.J. Simpson. We knew what was going to happen once we saw the jury. It was over. It was acquittal. So,
Mikhail, what are you asking me? What kind of question is this? He said, please don't tell me you're trying to say that y'all raised black boys, right? What? I have 2 black sons. What you mean? They also have a father in their life. You mean to tell me you got to be a certain race to have kids or something? What you trying to say? What kind of question is this? The audacity.
So, and that was that's the magnificence of the practice of law. The case is typically won.
Yeah, Umar Johnson said, "Don't vote
when the jury is impaneled," and that's the things people don't know. So you want more black people to get out of jail? Y'all sit for jury duty. That's what you do. Stop trying to pretend like your mama's sick. And you got to go to work, and you got a medical condition that won't let you sit for jury. Stop ignoring. That's what you do.
On point, counselor. You want black people on the jury? You want more representation? Don't listen to Umar Johnson. Go register to vote and vote. When you get the notice to serve for jury duty, get your ass up and go serve for jury duty. Most jobs still pay you for that. Plus, whatever additional money you get from the jury duty, it might be like $25 or something like that. Who dodges jury duty? I know I get paid either way. If I have jury duty, I still get paid for my job for the day. I don't have to use like vacation or sick time or anything. Your employer actually pays you as if you went to work. And you get whatever little $25 check they give you, at least for going and checking in. But go to jury duty. Register to vote. Don't listen to Umar, another black man that claims to be a Pan-Africanist, spelled with a K and not a C. It's the ignorance. If you don't go out and register to vote and actually vote and go serve on, a jury, report for jury duty, you're not going to have that representation. It's that simple. Don't let somebody tell you not to register to vote. What you mean? What was the whole civil rights movement for and protesting for the right to vote for blacks if we're not going to go out and actually exercise that right? Why would you let an Umar Johnson tell you not to go out and vote? That's so stupid. I can't believe you had no black people on that jury. I can't believe you all are not registering to vote and not actually reporting for jury duty.
Do you think that the jury put more weight on video evidence or witness testimony, eyewitness testimony?
I don't know, man, and I don't think that they questioned the jury after the jury.
I did call
poll. It's called poll. I don't think they polled the jury after the jury left. I'm sure at some point some of these jurors will come up with a book and we'll know what happened, because typically on all these famous cases is always somebody who does an interview. But I'm not sure. I don't know what the jury did, but I know that there was enough evidence for them to convict. That's what I do know, and that's my only point. Was there enough evidence for the jury to convict? Was there enough valid, admissible evidence for the jury to convict? And that's the question that I look at, and my answer is yes, there was. And you see what they did. Again, the only question is whether or not this was going to be manslaughter or murder. They elected murder. So that's the difference.
Sounds like you think that he was overcharged.
I think it was a range. You know, I think it was a range. I think it could have been manslaughter and it could have been murder. I think capital murder would have been overcharging. I do think that, because it wasn't premeditated. He didn't kill multiple people. He wasn't in the commission of committing some aggravated crime. There was, the victim wasn't under the age of 10. So that would have been overcharging. In this case, it was a range, and that's why they have something called lesser included charges. You charge them with murder on the indictment, and then a lesser included charge is manslaughter, which I believe the judge laid out in the jury charges. So it was included, but they didn't want manslaughter. They saw murder. And that's it. And this is where we are. I know it, man. Look, good kid. Good. The boy had no history, a criminal record, good grades. He was a good kid, you know, but this is what happens. And this is the problem with emotionalism. And this is why we got to teach our sons to control this. I'm going to say something. It's real chauvinist. I'm about to say it's going to be real chauvinist. I don't care if they don't like me. But back in the day, we were taught boys don't cry. And now at this age, I understand why the old people used to teach little boys don't cry. Little girls can cry. Little boys can't cry, because if you allow them to fully embrace all those emotions, sadness is not the only one. Anger comes with that. Fear comes with that. And the reason we don't want men in our society, all men, to just always embrace their emotions, because they'll go too far with it. Now you got an emotional man, whether he's angry, whether he's fearful, whether he's sad, he's going too far. And this is why we limit our boys in this society to control their emotions. And that's part of the training. And this is what I've taught my sons. This is a hard lesson that a lot of men have to learn. Bro, I know one thing. I know, you know, Karmelo been in there a week. And if some of them OGs would take him under his wing, they'll say, son, at least you got a date. Because some of us got 250 years. We never getting out of here. You got a date. On top of that, you young, so you're going to get out of here and you're going to still be a baby. You're going to be 35 years old. You up for probation. So, and they're also going to say after, if he's willing to talk about it, because I'm sure he's been in there crying. You know how that is. Look, man, I'm going to tell you something, man. I worked in Lake Charles, Louisiana as a law clerk. And they would just bring bodies in. I work for a black judge now, and his name was Judge Wilford Carter. He's famous over there.
Hey, Miss Coco.
5 o'clock, he goes home. 5 o'clock, They go with that man in that gray van. And I would see literally thousands of young men of all colors every year getting football numbers. And we go to lunch, come back, here goes some more football. It don't mean anything to these people. This is a process. The criminal justice system is an animal that needs to be fed, and they're going to throw bodies in there. And what they do is throw people in there who can't control themselves, and they throw people in there who are undesirable.
But see, here's the thing. Karmelo Anthony did not use self-control. None. He went to the most extreme option. He had a weapon on him he shouldn't even had on him. On a school campus he did not attend for a track meet. When did track meets get rowdy like that where you need knives and guns and stuff? Why do you need to bring a knife to a track meet? And then you going up to a random tent after passing by 2 others, because well, you got these weirdos that still can't comprehend, the simple fact that he walked past 2 other tents. And it wasn't raining the entire time. At some point, it stopped. By the time he stabbed Austin Metcalf in the chest and murdered him, it had stopped raining. It was just drizzling. So he couldn't handle some rain. He didn't have a problem running away, though, after he stabbed him in the chest, but he couldn't get up before then. Before he thought to pull a knife out of his backpack, he couldn't just get up and walk away. But after he stabbed this boy in the chest, now he can run away. And then went back to the area. He went around the fence, went onto the field, but he went back near the area. But you're supposed to be scared of all these kids. You're supposed to be in fear of your life. Wouldn't you want to stay as far away from them as possible? Because, see, logic goes over people's head. Logic and common sense, good judgment, and wisdom. Wouldn't you stay as far away from someone as possible if you fear for your life around these kids? Why would he run around the fence, go back on the field, but he's still near the tent? You're supposed to be in fear of your life of them. Wouldn't you just stay on the opposite end of the field? You done stabbed this boy in the chest. Now you scared all of them. But you go back near where the tent was on the other side of the fence. For what? I know you're not trying to feel remorse. You just stabbed this kid in the chest because he put a hand on you. Touch. Now I got to take your whole life. No, the idea is if you are in fear of your life, all your actions around that should reflect that you're in fear of your life. You don't go back to the area where the tent is if you are in fear of your life of these kids. That's why I was like, why did he just run through the parking lot? Go back in the school building or something? What the hell? Why did he just get up? He could have got up. Go and maintain your blackness and exist far away from them if you're scared of them. Not sit there, be defiant, and have them ask you to get up 15 times. They're trying to push you away and get rid of you, and you want to force yourself on them. And then the moment you go and do something you knew at that moment changed the rest of your life, now you're scared of them. And then you run back towards the fence on the other side of the gate. Boy, this stuff writes itself, don't it?
You see, and you can read into that what you want. But the bottom line, when you get into that system, oftentimes there are OGs in there who will sit down and talk to you and say, yeah, nephew, you should have controlled yourself, man. It wasn't worth it. You in here for some childhood schoolyard stuff. You in here for something. You got 35 years for something that you could have just walked away from. And that's just good old-fashioned common sense. Anybody who loves their child is going to tell them, look, man, walk away if you can. That don't mean you're a punk. I done walked.
De-escalate. Learn how to de-escalate. Maintain self-control. Everything is not a fight. Pick your battles. All of this wisdom we all grew up with, hearing. At least those that are at least 40 years old and older. We all grew up hearing this. And somehow this does not apply in this situation? What you mean? So it doesn't apply in this situation because how dare you, Lady Luck, say he shouldn't stand underneath a complete strange team's umbrella tent at a school he did not attend. You're impeding upon his right to exist. Forget the self-control. Somebody put a pinky on me, I'm going to take their life and stab them with a knife in the chest. What you mean? What kind of response is that? It is so extreme and unreasonable. Like this counselor just said, when he could have just walked away and sat somewhere else. And then you go exist somewhere else. But then he's scared of him. So they got to tell you to move 15 times, but you scared of them. You talking about touch me and see what happens, punch me and see what happens, but you scared of them. There's no logic to that. We're not defying logic over here. I refuse to do it. You want to go and live in La La Land and defy logic? This ain't it. You're just gonna be mad at me, but what you're not gonna do is sit here and tell me that somehow this should make sense. No, it doesn't make sense. It's stupid. He murdered that boy then.
Away from plenty. And I know you have too, because we wouldn't be here where we are. Anybody in the public who has a problem with that, they're here to see the circus. They're here to see the chaos. They don't care nothing about Karmelo Anthony's family. They don't care about Austin Metcalf. They just want to see a spectacle. And that's the truth. What you and I are doing right here, both fathers, is, we're speaking honestly. That you're as passionate about how you feel. And I'm just saying, bro, this is what the law says. I don't like to see that young black man dead, and I don't like to see that young white boy dead either. I don't want to see any children hurt like that. And we need, we need to tone the rhetoric down, man. It's not getting any better. It's just making things worse. And
it has no sway in the court of law. Going in there talking about, Your Honor, this is also racist. Sit down, please, or I'll have you removed from the court. Because that's exactly what would happen. Any more outbursts, I will hold you in contempt of my courtroom. Is that simple? That's not a legal argument in court. He still got 35 years. He was still convicted of murder. Oh, they're impeding on his right to exist. So, no, they're not. That reserved area was not his space. He could have sat anywhere else. All those empty bleachers that those invisible aliens were sitting in. It's just too much work. See how this went for him in court, where it matters the most. All this buffoonery we're doing out here with this racial bias and rhetoric means nothing in court. He still got convicted of murder and has 35 years sentenced. So all that racial stuff that you're hollering and screaming meant nothing in the court of law. And you go into a courtroom acting like that, if you won't, you will go to jail. Because that's irrelevant. What can you prove? What evidence do you have? And just good judgment, common sense. So all that BS, none of it works. All these weird ass questions in the chat. Y'all listen. This is why I say sometimes you gotta let it ride. Because it's funny to me to see the people that's trying to still justify Karmelo Anthony murdering Austin Metcalf. And yet, these dumbass questions would never be legal arguments in a court of law. Nope. You just be big mad about it, keep throwing your tantrum. Won't work in court.
All I'm doing is coming here throwing some water on that fire that you've been spitting, bro.
Jay Witt.
Hey, that's all I got, brother.
How you doing?
No, it's cool. It's cool. But I absolutely appreciate you speaking on the emotional thing, because there is we do have a huge issue with people, not just boys, but everybody. And
you got grown men that don't know how to act. Shout out to Jay Witt, honey. Oh, my Morehouse brother and brother in Christ. How you doing, Deacon? How's it going? Drop your YouTube channel link in the chat. Y'all green hearts for Jay Witt podcast up in here. He's been reporting on this as well. This is my third live stream on this Karmelo Anthony thing. It's something else, ain't it? Everybody think they went to law school. They forget when you go to court, it's a totally different tone. You know what I said? And I want y'all to think about this. This fake Minister of Justice clown, Dominic Alexander, whoever that clown is, when he was charged with shaking a 2-year-old baby, because that's a crime, he didn't go to court talking about, Your Honor, this is so racist. How dare you not let me shake this 2-year-old baby and charge me with a crime? He didn't go to court saying that in his case. You know what he did? He pled guilty. He's a convicted felon. He pled guilty. He ain't gonna holler at how racist everything is in life. That does not fly in court. And this is the same idiot that Karmelo Anthony's parents hired to be their so-called advocate and spokesperson. But when he was charged with shaking a 2-year-old baby to the point where the baby had brain damage, he couldn't go to court talking about how everything is racist in life. That judge don't want to hear that. Oh, well, that's how you feel. Be quiet. And his attorney would have told him, shut your ass up. He couldn't pull that stunt in his case in court. That's why I'm like, these kids, these people that go out here doing all this stuff, Minister of Justice, that's not a real title. He can't represent anybody. He didn't go to law school. That's why they're scammers. Scammers. Whole nonprofit organization where he's not even filing taxes. But he didn't go to court in a case where he shook that 2-year-old baby talking about how everything was racist. He pled guilty so he didn't have to go to prison. And somehow he comes into this situation talking about how everything is so racist. And he actually thought that would fly in court. No, he knew it wouldn't. That's the scam. Let me get all of this stuff racially charged so y'all can raise all this money and then give me 10% of it. And then, you know, I'll go out and say a bunch of things and do a bunch of things and get people all rattled up. And you get all this attention. Only for you to go to court, go to trial, and he's still found guilty, convicted, and sentenced to 35 years for murder. 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 Doesn't fly in court. Does not fly in court. You can throw a tantrum until God returns. It will not fly in court. And the judge does not care. Go in there and talking about how everything's racist all day until you pass out. Has nothing to do with the finding of fact, law, and evidence. And that's what this attorney who did go to law school is trying to tell this Willie D person. All that rhetoric and all this stuff, y'all need to calm down the temperature on this because this stuff doesn't work in court. That's no different than you going in talking about, I'm a sovereign citizen. I am a living man. Well, I hope you're alive and not dead. I am not the person in all caps in this name case, Your Honor. Oh, okay. Well, we'll have that person. If you're not them, you're not a party to this case, then you don't get to speak on this person's behalf. So unless you're a bar licensed attorney, this person that's the defendant for this case will be capious for a failure to appear. Have a good day. And then they move on, call the next case. That's it. It's that simple. It's that simple. So if you want to go in there and play in that nonsense if you want to in court, that's a FAFO moment. Me too. Oh, I love when the sauces get destroyed, wasting our tax dollars in the court time when they could be hearing an actual real case. Oh, I love it. That judge, most of these judges are getting hip to that. They understand it. Like people coming in here trying to waste our time. Sit your ass. Are you the defendant? No, you saying no. So you alive or dead? I don't care about none of that. Are you the defendant? If you're not, then I'm gonna call the next case, and then we're gonna have this defendant capious for FTA. That's it. Call the next case, Baylor. Come on, keep it moving, because we're not doing this. And then next thing you know, I'm here. I'm representing the estate. No, are you the defendant? Yes, Your Honor. All right, say your name for the record. That's how that goes. One of my godmothers is a retired federal judge. Say your name for the record. It's that simple. Either you're here to appear for this case or you're not. You need an attorney. If you cannot afford one, we can give you the documentation so you can get a public defender. It's that simple. We're not doing all this. I'm a living man, a living woman, blah, blah, blah. Because if you were dead, you wouldn't be here. So none of that means anything to me or in the court of law. We don't care about none of your maritime, all that BS. We don't care about that. Boy, that sovereign citizen stuff, boy, they lose every single time. And they think that stuff works. It doesn't work. If you were dead, you would not be in court. So why are you telling me you alive? Well, we bless God for you still breathing. Deacon, boy, these solstices get in there talking about I'm a living man, I'm a living woman. Well, dead men don't go to court. Now, do they? Dead people don't go to court. Oh, you can't make this stuff up. It's the stupidity for me. I don't do stupid. We don't do that stuff in here.
This country right now, controlling their emotions. We gotta absolutely start like getting into conflict resolution. We gotta figure that out, how to resolve conflict, without fists, guns, and insults.
There you go.
So there you have it. But I appreciate you coming on, man. Any parting words?
Well, I appreciate it.
All right, let's get to the next.
There were multiple.
So this is Carlos.
There to show up to
Carlos King. I like his channel. He just kind of goes over some of this stuff regarding the attorneys. So he's filed a notice for an appeal, and this is the legal team now that has agreed to be pro bono for Karmelo Anthony. My question is, where the hell were all these attorneys at for the trial? I'm just asking a question. Where were these attorneys at for the trial? What were they at? I'm just saying. You got all these attorneys here, boy. It's stacked. You got lead counsel, third, second, chair, and then you have co-counsel. It's stacked. What were they at for the murder trial itself? It was like, no, we'll wait and see if he's found guilty, because he will be. And then we'll chime in. We'll at least look at it and see if there's any legal errors that occurred, because that's simple. Now you're just going through the court transcripts, you're going through the evidence, test that includes the testimony, the video evidence, all of that. You're looking at the pleadings, the orders, making sure that court rules were adhered to, there were no legal errors, misapplication of law. You're reading the judge's, opinion. Oftentimes they're given kind of like an op-ed or a memorandum of some sort with their ruling to explain why they can't, what happened, what transpired. In this case, of course, the verdict came from the jury. So they're reading, it's like just going through the paperwork. So it won't be hard. It's 6 of them. They can kind of split all this stuff, and everybody just, you take this stack, you take this stack, we'll just go through it. So, I'm just curious to know where they were at when during this murder trial.
And stuff like that, but I'm not here to put that on anyone and say that that's the case. And his family. Now it says that Russell Wilson, Law Office of Russell Wilson II, Gary Bledsoe, the Bledsoe Law Firm. Who else?
I see the Law Office of Russell Wilson II, the Bledsoe Law Firm, Law Office of Michael Ware, Ben Crump Law, the Requa Law Firm, and Stafford Moore PLLC. So, you got 6 whole attorneys. They're all attorneys. They practice law. Some else, and you got to imagine typically the law firms, at the very least, everybody's going to have at least one paralegal. So with the attorneys come the paralegals as well. And they're all doing this pro bono. It's just a matter of them going through the trial to find any inaccuracies, errors, or any technicalities that occurred during the trial. So they got to get the transcript and all that stuff, go through it. It might take a while because it's a lot of information to go through from start to finish, looking at all the pleadings, motions, the orders. I mean, you kind of just giving it a second look and review. And then for whatever errors are found, then that's what goes into the appeal to the circuit level court. And then they look at it, and you got to have a legal argument now. You can't just, because, we don't think it was fair and he's black. Now, the legal errors have to be based on an actual legal error. I mean, there's a misapplication of law, or they just completely violated or overlooked the law. That was evidence material to the case that should have been admitted that wasn't. And then you have to make the case as to why it should have. It's that very specific, meticulous review that, any other appellate attorney, you talking about $500-600 an hour. Who child? And they said, we'll do it for free. Good for them. You can't make this up.
Michael L. Ware, the law.
Hold on, I want to get to this portion of the interview with Austin Metcalf's father speaking out, because he was under gag order. And so he's on, is this Fox News? I hadn't seen this interview, so I wanted to check this little portion out.
That's here today. Thank you, Will. Thanks for having me.
I think I'd love to just start this conversation with some of what I just shared with the audience. This is not new to you. I'm sure you've seen the video and heard the 911 call. I did notice you took your earpiece out. You didn't want to hear that audio again of the 911 call.
Correct.
Wait, they had the 911 call? I didn't hear the 911 call.
And please don't politicize it. But
hold on. We'll listen to this first. I haven't heard the 911 call. How bad is it?
This conversation with
anyone knows how long? Can someone send me the 911 call, please, to my email? There are two. If you have the links to the calls, it doesn't have to be long videos and any of that. Just the calls or something where someone, it's only 2 calls. Is it really hard to hear? It's bad. Jim said it's bad. I haven't heard it. I mean, you all asked me to look at the video evidence. I hadn't even been covering this. Is it bad? Too bad to hear? Send me the links. I'll listen to it. If it gets to the point where it's too much, then we'll stop. But they didn't play the calls. Okay, if someone can send me the calls, we'll go. I haven't heard them, so I'll play them. If you all want to hear it, hit the 4. We'll play the calls because I haven't heard them, and a few of you all say you haven't heard it. We'll listen together. All right, we'll listen together. I don't think I would be able to hear them on my own. So I'll listen it with you all, but I don't think I would be able to hear it on my own because I know how heartbreaking that can be as a mom. I have 2 kids. This is oh boy, this sucks all the way around.
Some of what I just shared with the audience. This is not new to you. I'm sure you've seen the video and heard the 911 call. I did notice you took your earpiece out. You didn't want to hear that audio again of the 911 call.
Correct.
Just too hard to hear it again and see this video.
And there's another body cam footage that hasn't been released, and it has some pretty graphic details, and I can hear my son screaming, and
Oh,
It's something I don't really want to care to listen to again.
Totally understandable. What with this video's
how bad was the screen? Oh man. How bad was the screen? Y'all send me what? Tell me where to go to get the calls after this, and then we'll listen to it.
release, Jeff, do you hope the public can see about this moment?
Well, I mean, obviously, the trial not being publicly viewed live, there's so many minors involved, and that's a different subject I could talk about on its own. Because look at the damage that these young students who had to witness this murder, who have to live with this for the rest of their life. Every one of them, I believe, are in counseling. PTSD could be a thing. I mean, this is a trauma that you carry the rest of your life, possibly. Hopefully they can get the help they need and move forward and not be scarred from it. Me personally, I'm the same way. I need the help too, to make sure that I can move forward. And that's what I really want to concentrate on, is moving forward. I hope this video can clear up a lot of the misinformation that was provided throughout the entire year before the trial came to light. There were multiple lies and mistruths that were put on social media, that were spoken by even individuals that have some fame. People had their own opinions without even seeing the facts. And that's the part I have trouble with.
What do you make of that? Candidly, with the audience, you and I spoke a little bit earlier today, and it's one of the great mysteries for me, and how something that is so clear, the facts so obvious, was turned into something that was this great national discussion of race. I think you called it earlier. How did this become George Floyd 2.0?
Unfortunately, in today's moral decay of society, as we've witnessed, people believe that if they have their own voice, they scream loud enough, they're right. And they believe perception.
And, it's so crazy. People can be loud and wrong. He's absolutely right. Being the loudest person in the room doesn't make you right. That's why it's imperative to have an understanding of the law and how these matters flow through the court. You can't listen to Umar Johnson tell you not to vote, but then you want to sit and talk about how there was all white people on a jury. Well, you will have more representation if you register to vote. You got to be registered to vote to get served for jury duty. Some of these judges are elected. Go vote for these judges. Vote for your prosecutors, your DAs. Your members of your legislative branch of government on state and local levels. Go out and vote. You can't make this stuff up. Legislative branch writes the laws. Judicial branch enforces and interprets and upholds them. So if you're out voting for the representation that you feel will best serve your needs, then you would have the representation in the courts and on the juries and everything that you feel would be adequate. Otherwise, you can't complain if you're not even voting. The hell?
Is their own reality. It may not be truth, but in their mind, it is their own reality. For a person to not able to objectively look at something, use common logic, common sense, to come to a determination just based on merely the facts, not the color of one's skin, that tells me a whole lot about your character if you choose that direction.
And you told me you feel like you know the moment this became more than simply a horrible tragedy and a crime story in North Texas, where it became this larger thing, and it was that press conference.
Yes, sir. I do believe that was probably one of the turning points. I was there to show up to pray. I was hoping we could show the world this wasn't a racial divide thing, that we could kind of close the gap instead of widening it. But at that point, they'd obviously retained the services of Dominic Alexander.
And the thing is, there's nothing to retain, according to him. He said himself, can't be fired from something I wasn't hired for. You don't say. I am just flabbergasted. This idiot claimed to be a minister of justice with no credentials, never been to law school, doesn't know the law, and then turned around and said in a whole interview with some podcast, and we watched it, I don't remember the boy's name, I can't be fired from something I was never hired for. And yet he went out and tried to represent them and speak on their behalf, knowing that he himself has gone through the courts, charged with a crime, pled guilty to avoid going to prison. And not one time did he go in court talking about everything's so racist. This is all it's a setup, Your Honor. I can't believe it. You got all these white people sitting here trying to lock me up, but he shook up a 2-year-old baby. He didn't go into court saying that. He just pled guilty because he didn't want to go to jail. It's the cowardice for me. But somehow he knew that whole let me stir up the pot about race would not work in court. No different than Esau sits talking about, I'm a real man. I'm a grown living woman. Get your ass out of here.
Convicted baby shaking felon advocate who decided to throw me out of the press conference, had me removed by police, and then proceeded to gaslight me and tell me how I was such, I can't remember the word he used, but that I shouldn't have been there, and it was not dignified to my son or myself, which I really couldn't quite understand as they proceeded to gaslight me. And also took there was a young lady who has followed the case also from the entire time. Her name is Sarah Fields. Also showed information about her. That's when they took it from any type of remorse, which they did not show, to the fact of now we're going to play the race card. And now we're going to politicize this. Now we're getting a political activist involved. The two things I said on one of the first interviews I ever did was, please don't make this about race and please don't politicize it. But they chose to do both.
And your goal that day was to simply get together and pray?
All I wanted, I was actually hoping to show them, hey, look, man, I know what happened was terrible. And your son made a horrible mistake. I was hoping for some accountability maybe and some remorse. Neither one was shown.
Have you ever spoken to the Anthonys?
No.
No apology, no remorse?
Nothing.
You were telling me you were inside the courtroom, quite obviously. After the verdict, the Anthonys left. They weren't there for Karmelo's sentencing.
That is correct. They weren't there for the sentencing, and they were not there for victim impact statements. They left that poor child up there by himself. As soon as the verdict was read, he was guilty. His family and some other advocates left the courtroom and turned in their badges.
Jeff, I was talking to you earlier. I asked about Austin's twin brother, Hunter. And I asked you.
Hey, let me hold on. Let me, because OSR, you want my attention. Here it is. What we're not gonna do is debate irrational talking points that did not work in court. He was found guilty of murder and sentenced to 35 years. So at this juncture, you saying he got pushed somehow that warrants him to stab someone is moot, because a jury determined that to be murder. I don't care if you had half black, half white people. The evidence itself would have determined that to be murder. Because you're not ever admitting that he could have just got up and walked away. So if you're not going to be logical in you saying you've been repeating the same comment, how many times do you have to keep saying it? We see it. We got it. This is how you feel. You keep asking questions like the answer is going to change. It's not. We don't agree. You understand it? We don't agree. Your point is moot. It is unjustified to pull out a knife and stab someone because they push you or put a hand on you. Especially if you're sitting here saying, touch me, see what happens, punch me, see what happens. But you won't say he could have just got up and walked away. I mean, that's a very logical thing to say. You can still have your opinion. That's the problem here. We things are so racially charged, we can't even just have a conversation and then agree to disagree. Agree to disagree. We don't agree with you. And for those who do, they agree with you. I'm not kicking anybody out of here because they agree with what Karmelo Anthony did versus agreed that he should have gone to prison for murder. I mean, I'm not kicking anybody here because of that. You're trying to make an argument that doesn't fly in court. It didn't fly. It didn't work because he's in prison. He was found guilty of murder. So it didn't work. That's all we're saying. And if you have to stab someone in the chest because they pushed you, I don't know if you're a man or woman, but how does that show you have some level of self-control? It's an extreme measure. I hope you don't go around stabbing people in the chest because they pushed your shoulder. I hope you don't do that. And if you don't do that, then why justify someone else doing it? So if anybody go across OSR Cindy, just know if you push them, they're gonna stab you in the chest because they cool with that. Because that's obviously what you're trying to get us to understand. You feel it's cool. If somebody push you, you should just stab them in the chest and it go in the heart and you kill them. And hopefully you never go outside because you can't handle conflict, but whatever. No one should go around OSR. Cindy. Is it Cindy? Yeah, no, don't go near OSR Cindy. Stay far, far away from this one. Can't make this out. We don't agree. It is what it is. You gonna be all right? You gonna be able to handle yourself? My mom shouldn't have to keep saying keep it simple. Do you understand? We got it. He's gonna stab you all if you push him. He wants you all to know that.
What has life been like for Hunter in school? Frisco Memorial has other black students. What's the relationships been like at school? What has life been like for Hunter?
Well, I can't speak, for Hunter. I can only try to imagine. But I mean, he held his grades. He had straight A's this year. He was captain of the football team. Took over his brother's position. I honestly can't see anyone that has the strength or the mental fortitude as much as that young man does. I told him, matter of fact, right after the trial when he went up to give his victim impact statement that I saw a boy walk up there, but what I saw walking down was a man. He was calm, to the point, was able to articulate his words in a way that could be very understood very well. Asked Karmelo to look him in the eye to show him some respect, and never once became emotional and was able to convey what his thoughts were at that moment.
And you told me that multiple black students throughout Frisco High, Memorial High, also in the middle school, the entire community rallied around Hunter, rallied around your family, rallied around Austin. The point being, what was happening actually on the ground and in your lives was so different than what was taking place in the national media, in the conversation, for example, on The View.
Don't get me started.
You were on The View?
Left liberal who have Showtime. But anyway,
Lord.
The community and the school itself, obviously, we dedicated the season to Austin, and there was a logo, motto, whatever you want to call it, it's called All In. A stood for Austin. The two ones were his number 11. I stand for integrity. N stands for never quit. And they dedicated the season to him, and that became the motto. And they also presented me and Megan with a framed jersey of Austin with his jersey number 11 that hangs above my fireplace as we speak. But as far as the makeup of the team, I mean, I'd say half the team are blacks. I mean, we don't see color. So all I see is character in people. I don't care what color you are. I want to judge you how you treat people. What's your character like? Your color makes no difference. It doesn't determine your IQ. It doesn't determine your faith. It doesn't determine how much money you have. But your character shows who you are truly. And that's how I judge people.
And you said, don't get me started on it, but to your point, a lot of big voices in the media have talked about this, said, I don't understand. I could play a clip for you, which I'm not going to, of Sonny Hostin on The View saying, I don't understand how this couldn't possibly be self-defense. So what is your judgment of all these people in the media that have spoken on the case?
Well, they're just like anybody else. They don't know me. They don't know Hunter, Austin. They don't know Karmelo. They're looking for their 15 minutes of fame or their clickbait or their clicks. They're looking to monetize the death of my son. I really wish they wouldn't speak about at all. Because one, if that woman said that, she has no idea about the facts of the case, but she wants to spew her public opinion on a platform that reaches millions of people every day. Do I have that platform? No, but today I have a little platform to say what I'd like. She is completely wrong. And if they want to take me and call me and ask me to be on The View with them, I would gladly fly me up there and let me talk to all of you.
Well, I can promise you more people are watching you right now than watch The View.
It's not hard to believe.
Last thing, Jeff, you said that they don't know your son. What would you like the world to know about Austin Metcalf?
Man, I don't think we have enough time. But, I mean, Austin, I'll try to sum it up. He was a leader. He was a God-fearing son. He had compassion. He showed love. He always helped, always was helping his teammates, always helping the younger kids from middle school who was transitioning to high school football. He would go and talk to them and tell them what to expect. He would coach them in the weight room. He was a leader. When he stepped on that field, he became someone totally different. And he played, I told him once before, I said, son, you play with such controlled rage. And it shows. And for him to have all the accolades and the thing and where he was going, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind he was playing D1 football. But, let's just go a step forward. Maybe there's that 1% chance he does get to the NFL. I may be biased because he's my son, but he had the numbers, the stats, and the size. So the possibility does exist. I don't know about the probability, but the possibility surely existed.
Well, I'm sorry for all that you and your family have been through, and you and I have spoken, and I know you're continuing to go through it. I know you're getting a lot that is completely undeserved and unfortunate out there. So you continue to. But I appreciate you sharing with us, and with the world about Austin.
Well, that's one thing, all in. And this is one of the things that people understand that we did all the time was this. And this is sign language for I love you. If you ever see my boys or whatever, that was kind of like, their thing to tell me, hey, man, I'm thinking about you. I love you. And I just want the world to understand, it all starts with you and it all starts at home. So as a parent, do your best. Are your kids? Doesn't mean they're going to turn out right or wrong. It doesn't guarantee that they will live or die. But I do believe if you instill your moral values and a moral compass, I think our society is going the wrong direction right now. And us as parents are the only ones that are able to change this because our kids are the future. And what does our future look like with what we're teaching them right now that is acceptable?
Jeff Metcalf, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Ooh, child, that's something else. Corey Massey, pushing is not assault. It's called battery. It's a misdemeanor. It's not assault. There's a difference. Battery and assault, two different charges. But he was convicted of murder. The definition of pushing someone, putting hands on someone, making physical contact is not assault. It's battery. That's not a false equivalent. That is a Google search for you. So you can look up the definition of assault and battery. It's not a false equivalent. Look it up. They make this up. They come over here and challenge me to look stuff up. Why? Reading is fundamental for everybody. Look it up. The physical contact is battery. Assault is not legally defined to be battery. Those are two different charges. Come on now. Just Google it. Google it. You don't believe me? Look it up. Do a Google search. It's not even a back and forth. That's a matter of you doing a Google search. All right, y'all. So I got tagged on the calls on X. Shout out to Mindy. Okay, there are 2 calls. Which one do I just listen to one first and then the other? The one that lasts a minute 50 seconds. And one that lasted 2 minutes 58 seconds. Were they made by the same person? Oh man. Mindy. Exactly, 1985. I don't understand why they just won't look this stuff up. Physical contact is battery. He did self-defense. He pushed him back, and he pushed him back and then stabbed him in the chest. His move was simultaneous. He had a knife in his hand. He could have just pushed him back and walked off, but he pushed him back and then he stabbed him in the chest. Battery is the physical contact. Assault is a greater charge when you're doing more severe bodily harm and injury. But if you're telling someone, put your hands on me, touch me, see what happens, punch me, see what happens, you got to understand what it means to be the primary aggressor and to provoke as well in a situation. You don't be the primary aggressor and dare someone to put their hands on you or provoke someone to doing that, to touch you or punch you, and then you want to holler self-defense. This is the thing people not understanding here. Proportional force means whatever energy I give you, you give it back to me. So if you pushing me back, that's that proportional force. I push you, you stab me in the chest, it's not proportional because it's not equivalent. That is what the law, and I pulled up the law here in the first or second live stream. So you have to check out my first, I think it's the first live stream I did where we went over the law. Or was it the second one? Because this so-called minister of justice, that idiot doesn't know the law. And I had to pull up the actual penal code in Texas. Laws are not, and this is why I keep saying, you can't go to court expecting a result based on your opinion of the law. It is based on the legal definition of the law. That's how that works in court. He was charged with and convicted with murder because the proportional force was not there. You can't say that this was self-defense. Self-defense, according to the law, involves proportional force. We actually read the law. That is what self-defense in the state of Texas, according to the law, is defined to be. It is based upon proportional force where it has to be relevant to whatever you're given. That's what you give back equal to that. That situation did not require excessive force. So you didn't need to stab someone in the chest to defend yourself if they only pushed you. So you turned simple battery into a whole felony and 35 years in prison for murder because your force was not equal to what they gave you in accordance with the law. I'm not making any of this stuff up. All this stuff can be Googled. That's why he was charged with murder and convicted of such. That's not equal force. That was just what I was saying with this OSR envy person. We're not like it's almost like redundant. If people don't truly understand the law, it starts with that. You got to read and research the law and understand what the law states would be self-defense. How does the law define self-defense in the state that you're in? Certain laws may have nuances in based on whatever state you're in. So look at the laws in your state about self-defense, battery, assault, murder. Like look up these charges so you can see what is required to meet those charges. And then you can understand, okay, if someone pushed me and I shoot them in the head, I'm going to go to jail for murder. Like, it's just that simple. That's not equal force. It's not proportional. That's outlandish and extreme, and it's murder. If they would have just pushed each other a couple times and then you had the other kids around to break them up, guess what? I don't even think they would have gotten into trouble. Because the teachers and the faculty, all those people, they know the kids are going to have a little fight. They're going to have a little scuffle. They'll say, break it up. And then, go to class. That's it. Right? It's not going to always lead to suspension or exposure, any of that. Murder will lead to prison every single time. But this right here, you're talking about a situation, you're talking about you got pushed. Like, what you mean? So unless you push them back, how is it sensible to stab someone in the chest? It's not. And why did he have a knife in the first place? Who brings a knife to a track meet? No one. You don't need to do that. You should have stayed at home. Seemed like he was scared, of life. I mean, you going to a track meet with a knife and you a track star? Why you got this knife? It makes me wonder if this was bound to happen regardless. So you bringing knives to track meets and stuff and school campus? We ain't doing that. Hell no, don't bring no knife around my kids. I would be mad as a parent if I found out that other kids are bringing knives and guns and weapons that could be used to cause severe bodily harm and injury. And you have school policies that are being enforced by law enforcement saying, don't bring weapons here. I would be pissed off. I'm like, what you mean? You brought a knife here for what? Kick that kid out of my kid's school. Don't have them kids coming to school with my kids. Kick them out of here. We're not going to school with that. If the school say don't bring the weapon, don't bring the weapon. They're kids. Boy, child, we raising a generation of some little punks. They don't know how to take a little slap fight. All right, y'all, let's get to this first one. I guess this is shorter. I don't know if there's an order I should be playing it in or not. Hold on.
I need paramedic that Kirk.
Is this right after it happened? So this is the first one, and then we'll play the second one.
I need paramedics at Kirkendall Stadium right away.
Okay, what's going on?
I have an athlete that was stabbed.
He was stabbed?
Yes.
Okay, where's the person who stabbed him?
I don't know.
Okay, where in the stadium is he?
We are on the visitor side bleachers. We have Army veteran that's trying to keep compression on the wound.
Okay. Are you with him now?
He is laying here.
How old is he?
Starting to go unconscious.
How old is he?
High school age, so maybe 15, 16, 17.
Okay. Is he awake?
No, he's going unconscious.
Okay. Is he breathing?
Not right now.
Breathing?
No, he's not.
He's not breathing at all?
No.
Okay. Where was he stabbed at?
In his chest.
Okay. I've got them coming, okay? Stay on the phone with me, all right?
I'm hearing the background.
Okay.
Is the assailant still nearby?
Okay. I'm here.
Is the assailant still nearby?
Stay with me, Austin. Come on, come on. Everyone while there's a break, if he's here. Come on, come on, come on.
I'm going to keep you with me, okay, until they're with you. Is he breathing still?
He's trying. Yeah, we're doing compressions and giving him mouth to mouth.
Okay.
Come on. Come on.
Hey, they're doing CPR on him.
No, fight through.
Okay, just keep going, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Come on.
The medics are coming as fast as they can. Just keep me updated, okay?
Come on. Yes, ma'am. Fight through, baby. Fight through, Austin. Come on.
Ooh, God.
They're on the way, okay? Give me a description of the person. Frisco 911, what is the location of the emergency?
Hi, we're at Kuykendall Stadium. My friend just got stabbed.
Okay, do you know who stabbed him?
We have no clue. He was sitting in our tent, but you need to send an ambulance right now.
They're on the way, okay? Give me a description of the person that stabbed him.
He was wearing a gray Essentials hoodie. He was black. He's standing out on the track right now.
He's standing on the track?
Yeah.
Okay.
His blue sweatpants on and John.
Okay, what did he stab your friend with?
I don't know. My friend's bleeding everywhere.
Okay. Where was he stabbed at?
The chest.
Okay. And do you still see the person that stabbed him, or did he leave?
It was Austin. Austin got stabbed in the chest. I'm sorry, what did you say?
The person that stabbed him, is he still there? Do you still see him?
There's adults on him, I think. Yeah.
There's adults that are trying to keep him there?
Sorry, what?
The person that stabbed your friend, is he still there?
Yeah, he's still here.
Okay. And
the irony of adults trying to keep him there after he stabs his boy in the chest. But yet, when they told him 15 times to get up from the tent, he didn't want to move. This was avoidable. Unbelievable. You push me, I'm going to stab you in the chest. And this boy lost his life because he got pushed. Karmelo Anthony was not being jumped or beat up on. They were all sitting down until you see these two get up and there's a push and then he stabbed him in the chest. That's it. But he could have got his ass up the 15 times they asked him to do it. Now he is being kept from leaving.
there's a coach with him?
Yes, he's with. People got him.
Okay. Do you know if he still has the weapon on him?
No clue, but he's like he can't do nothing. He's done.
What do you mean?
He stabbed Austin Metcalf in the chest. What?
What do you mean he can't do anything? What's going on with him?
Coaches have him, he can't hurt anyone.
Okay, when you say they have him, are they physically holding him down?
No, they're just holding him, walking around.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. What's your name?
Wow.
What's your last name?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your last name? And do you see any of the responders there yet?
We hear the sirens, but
okay.
The coaches sent us out. We're all walking to our buses.
Okay. So you're going to get on a bus right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the rest of the students are walking towards the buses?
Yeah, everyone's being evacuated out of the stadium.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being quick.
Okay. Just follow whatever directions you're being provided by either the officers or by your coaches, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect it. All kinds of help.
Okay, so the first call was one of the coaches. This call was his friend. And they, of course, bleeped out his name. especially since he's a minor. This was hard to hear. I'm not even gonna lie. This was really, 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 really hard to hear. I don't know what to say. All right. One last video. It was a couple more that I wanted to kind of go over. We'll just save for another live, but this one here I wanted to go over with from April Chapman, because like this Dominic person, you got all these scammers and so-called wannabe minister of justice advocate, whatever, people coming flooding into this case, and as opposed to teaching people how to go register to vote so they can serve on jury duty, they want to keep hollering how everything is racist. And this child lost his life out there on the track field. 17 years old. He pushed something. After Karmelo Anthony said, touch me, see what happens. Punch me, see what happens. When he could have just got up and moved. He had the option to just walk away and leave. The stupid ass self-entitlement is ridiculous. You're not entitled to be somewhere reserved area that was not for you, and they're telling you 15 times, can you please get up and leave? Stupid shit.
Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman. Today, we are revisiting again the Karmelo Anthony case. A lot of us are really doing like a post-mortem autopsy, not just of the case, but we're really giving a deep dive look into how did the Karmelo Anthony family get here. Things appear to be getting progressively worse for them. The more time that passes and the more that we try to make sense of how the perpetrator in this case, Karmelo Anthony, a lot of us, I'll be honest, are trying to understand how is it that this family continues to paint themselves as the victim, and we've yet to see accountability, contrition, any sort of remorse or sorrow from these people, but instead they keep doubling down on this victim narrative and this.
It's the arrogance and the pride. And the parents reflect that because they didn't teach their son about self-control and to how to de-escalate. You sitting your ass somewhere where people are telling you you need to get up and leave. And yet why should the authorities have to go out there to tell him to move? Why? He's 17 years old. Why should they have to go and find authorities, the police, to remove Karmelo Anthony from their reserved seating area underneath that one tent? But you won't ask, why is it that Karmelo Anthony could not just go sit under the other two tents he passed by to get to that one? He passed two tents. Why didn't he go sit at another damn tent? They're not asking simple, basic questions like that because it's selective outrage. Your fake outrage is stupid. If you're not using logic when it comes to him moving or not going to that tent at all, then why do you expect Austin Metcalf to have called the police just to get Karmelo Anthony to move from his tent for his team from that reserved seating area when they had all that bleacher space where he could have sat any fucking where else? What do you mean? Ask the same question about why he didn't get up go ahead. I dare you use a little bit of logic and say, why didn't Karmelo Anthony just get up? It wasn't reserved for him. So a 17-year-old needs the police to move him at a track meet? He brought a knife to a track meet. He wasn't even supposed to have that knife on school campus. Are you going to ask, why didn't Karmelo Anthony get the hell up? Why would he need to call? Why would Austin Metcalf have needed to call the police to tell Karmelo Anthony to go sit somewhere else because this area is reserved for our team and this tent is ours, not yours or your school's? Why didn't Karmelo Anthony go to the other tents? Are you going to ask that question? Corey, are you going to ask that question? Ask the question. Come on, Corey, ask the question. Why didn't Karmelo Anthony go sit at another tent? Why did he have a knife on the school campus at a track meet? Are you going to ask these questions? Ask them. I dare you to use a little bit of logic. Ask the question, why didn't Karmelo Anthony get up and go sit at another tent? Ask it. I'm waiting. Oh, he had an urgent track meet to go to? Okay. Ask those questions. He wasn't even supposed to be there. I can imagine. He didn't have to be there either. He didn't have to be there either. It's a track meet. It was not a class required for him to graduate. He's not getting a grade out of this. He didn't have to be there at all. Don't figure. Why didn't Karmelo Anthony get up and sit at another tent? I'm waiting on Corey to ask that question. Because all these dumbass points you're making are irrelevant. When you can't ask, why didn't Karmelo Anthony just get up? 15 times he was told to move. He was suspended. Are you kidding me? So why was he there? And he brought a knife. That knuck if you buck attitude, boy, it's going to land a lot more kids in jail if they keep going at this rate. You got these damn kids that act like, being on knuck if you buck mode 24/7. Somehow is realistic. It's not. Teach your kids how to have some level of self-control. You don't tell someone, touch me, see what happens, punch you, see what happens, because I came over here, I just sat down anyway. I don't care if this is y'all tent. I don't care if y'all got this reserved. I don't care about none of it. What you mean? You don't even have to, you shouldn't even, if you were suspended, you should not be here. You coming to school events and you're suspended from school? So what you here for? You can't even compete in the track meet because you're suspended. So he just there to see the track meet, and then he brought a knife. But his ass was suspended. He would have went to jail over that. So I ask you, Corey, you're saying Austin Metcalf should just call the police and had him removed. Okay, so then he would have went to jail for having that knife in his backpack. So either way, he would have went to jail that day. Funny how that works. Yeah, because then they'd be outraged over that because stupidity and dumb shit. So if he would have called the police to have him move and he knew he had a knife on him, yeah, officer, he also has a knife. He's also suspended from school. He shouldn't be here. And this is reserved. He has a knife. You're not supposed to bring knives to the school campus. So he still would have went to jail. He would have went to jail. There you go. He was going to go to jail either way. He had a whole knife on school campus. And the police do have the authority to enforce that school policy. Oh, yes, they do. They would have locked him up. You bring a knife to school, you call 911, you're going to jail. So he would have went to jail either way. Because they feel like, well, he should have made the police make him leave. Okay, well, then he still would have went to jail for bringing a knife onto a school campus. So Karmelo Anthony would have went to jail either way that day. All he had to do was move. So if Austin Metcalf would have called the police just to have him removed, then he would have told the police he has a knife on him. And he would have gotten arrested. Parents not thinking about that because they're stupid. Crazy stuff. Shouldn't have had a knife. You bringing a knife to school campus? Yeah, you're going to jail either way. So he would have went to jail. Karmelo Anthony would have went to jail either way. For having a weapon on school property. He's suspended from school. Why are you there? Then you bring a knife. Yeah, so he would have went to jail either way. Okay.
Race baiting narrative, and even so many attorneys and law professors and a lot of people are coming out and saying that the sentence that Karmelo Anthony received, much of it is because of the way that the people who were in charge, his family, his legal representatives, his social justice advocates, they are the ones that made things infinitely more difficult for Karmelo. As you guys know, Karmelo Anthony received 35 years as a prison sentence for the stabbing of Austin Metcalf. And so what I want to do is I want to react to a few clips. The first clip that I want to react to is going to demonstrate some of the missteps that the Karmelo Anthony family made, one of which I've already talked about. I talked about very early on how I knew something was stinking in Denmark when they retained the services. Yes, I'm calling it the services of Dominique Alexander. And it demonstrated to me that I was like, these people are not that smart. These people are not that smart. And I know it is disparaging when you call someone low IQ, but these people are not reading the room. Even when information about Dominique Alexander started to come out, you would think that they would say, okay, us being connected to this individual is going to damage our credibility. We got to cut them loose. No, they did not do that. They did not seek wise counsel. They did not enter into this situation with the sole purpose of defending their son and giving him the best chances of a favorable outcome at all, simply because they made way too many mistakes and were unwilling to listen to the wisdom of what so many people, even on the internet, was trying to make them see. Another misstep they made was allowing so many of these race hustling grifters, not the usual suspects like your Al Sharptons or your Ben Crump. They have been nowhere near this case because they're like, yeah, we can't help this boy. What they did was they gave the ball to the JV squad of race hustling and race grifters, such as your Charleston Whites, and then these other wannabe legal minds thinking that having these people advocate on their behalf was going to be a net positive. But in the end, it ended up being a net negative. So first, let's take a look at this new, this character was new on the scene. So many people have been trying to take advantage of the Karmelo Anthony situation. And at the end of the day, one day, I am praying that Karmelo Anthony realizes that none of these people loved him or gave a darn about him, but they were only interested in themselves and what they could get from it, namely, what type of monetary payoff was in it for them. Let's take a look at this first clip.
And here are your top stories. The attorney who claimed that Karmelo Anthony was illegally lynched after being convicted of first-degree murder for killing Austin Metcalf is actually not eligible to practice in Texas because she's suspended for disciplinary reasons, aka she is a convicted felon who was ordered mental treatment conditions. Thelma Anderson said the Anthony family, quote, has been legally lynched for the last year and more so by the slaughterhouse of a courthouse, as well as the family of the Metcalfs. So the energy, she said, is very white supremacy. They have shown to be the pigs that they are. Anderson was convicted of federal wire fraud in a paycheck protection program. This convicted felon was presented to the public as a credible legal voice analyzing the Karmelo Anthony murder verdict, but nobody talked about her criminal record or her being blocked from practicing law. The State Bar of Texas currently lists Thelma M. Anderson, bar card number 240-91728, as, quote, not eligible to practice in Texas with disciplinary status as, quote, suspended disciplinary reasons. Her suspension took effect on March 3rd. Federal court records in the Northern District of Texas confirm Anderson pleaded guilty to wire fraud, which is a felony, and received a sentence of 4 years probation plus $20,000 in restitution to the U.S. Small Business Administration. Immediately after the verdict, Anderson became a voice online and in the media, identifying herself as attorney Thelma Anderson. In addition to accusing the court and the Metcalfs of white supremacy, she called the courthouse a slaughterhouse, criticized the state's witness strategy as, quote, very weird, and suggested it may have hurt the prosecution. The state called 17 eyewitnesses in addition to coaches, medical examiners, and experts. Okay, here's some details. Anderson served as an assistant district attorney in the Dallas County District Attorney's Office from 2016 until March of 2022. Dallas County DA policy prohibited outside employment without authorization. Anderson did not get that authorization and had a business outside of her position. While employed there, she operated Thelma Lou LLC, a clothing boutique that she claimed was doing business in Irving, Texas. On February 4th, 2021, she submitted a PPP loan application that falsely stated the business had an average monthly payroll expenses of about $9,000 and gross sales of about $140,000 in 2019.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there because here's what I want you guys, the audience, to take away from this. The vast majority, if not all of the people inadvertently connected to this Karmelo Anthony case, they are all either criminals, grifters, or just, these are not good people. In my opinion, I think what the Karmelo Anthony family has done is surround themselves in their desperate attempt to, quote unquote, save or defend their son. They simply surrounded themselves with everyone who gave them what's called confirmation bias. If you come to the table not in truth and in honesty and loving us enough to tell us, look, what are we really dealing with here? How much time is he really looking at? Does this look good for Karmelo? Is there a possibility that he could possibly win this case? No, they weren't interested in that. They were looking for anyone who would echo the narrative of racism, prejudice, bias, just like the grandmama said.
Laws, evidence, facts, laws, video, evidence, testimony, witnesses, evidence, laws. Because two can play this game. What the hell is happening here? Oh, y'all. Let me tell y'all something. Cases like this, I see it's true crime. This is why I don't often report on these types of cases where you have this racially charged nonsense and they can't tell you how, jury selection process occurs. It's the stupidity for me. You're hollering and chanting all of that, but you're not registered to vote and you don't want to serve on jury duty so that you can have black people on a jury because you listen to Umar Johnson. It's the hypocrisy for me. These are the same people that think that the appeal is going to allow him to just have an automatic new trial with new evidence and new witnesses and all this stuff. And can't tell you any law on anything between murder, battery, assault, nothing. bringing a weapon to a school campus that law enforcement can enforce and have Karmelo Anthony arrested for either way, because he brought a knife to school campus and he was suspended. I don't understand that. You suspended. That means you weren't in school. So why you have a backpack? I mean, you out there just to see a track meet. You can't compete if you're suspended. If you play sports and you get suspended from school, you can't play in the game. You're suspended. So what? Boy, it's something else. Why don't he just go to work? Or go do anything else? You're suspended from school. Not only are you going to bring a backpack, you're going to bring a knife to school campus. And somehow, these clowns are talking about, because I said it, these clowns are talking about, oh, Austin Metcalf should have called the police and had him removed from a tent that he was not supposed to be sitting at. He passed by two others. So you're not going to ask why he passed by the two other tents. So you're not going to ask, why did he pass two other tents to get to that one? You're not going to ask, why did it take 15 requests for him to get up? And why would he threaten or provoke, not threaten, provoke someone to touch him, see what happens, punch him, see what happens. See, this is why we watched the video of the actual bar licensed attorney earlier in the live. Because you can, if you weren't here from the beginning, you need to check out the replay. Because the whole ass attorney said the same thing I've been saying on Willie D live show. Johnny Walker Dre, you won't believe it. That attorney literally had to tell Willie D to calm the hell down, and all this racial nonsense is not working in court. We got to bring the temperature down in the room. You got these 17-year-old boys walking around here acting like they already scared of the rain. I mean, seriously, did he really need to sit underneath the tent? It wasn't raining that hard. So you scared of the rain, and then you bring a knife to a school campus, which is a violation of the school policy. He would have been arrested for that if the police would have showed up. And you got these clowns saying, no, Austin Metcalf should have called the police and made a move so he could still go to jail. Because Austin Metcalf would have told the police he has a knife. He just pulled a knife out his backpack. And then they would have found out, oh, you suspended. Why the hell are you here? Why would you sit at this tent? Why not go to the other two tents? I'm sure the police probably asked him that on the way to jail. Worst thing is that his parents aren't asking those questions. His parents aren't even being asked those questions. Like, has anyone interviewed the parents and said, why didn't your son just get up? Was he suspended from school? Why would he bring a knife to school campus? Why did he pass by two tents to go to that one? Why would it take 15 times for them to tell him that this area is reserved for our team? All those empty bleachers, he couldn't sit anywhere else. So your son's legs didn't work. The 15 times they asked him to move. But somehow they worked well when he stabbed that boy in the chest and he was able to run his ass away. Like, this is ridiculous. Then they had to keep him from leaving. But you forcing yourself upon somebody in a tent, provoking them to put their hands on you and punch you. Why? Why would you tell someone to do that? Where's the logic in that? Where's Corey? Corey, you gonna ask why did Karmelo tell Austin Metcalf, touch me, see what happens, punch me, see what happens? Are you gonna ask us that? Because that was a stupid thing for him to say. That's not a sign to any judge or jury that you are in fear of your life. It's called provocation if you're provoking. Johnny Walker Dread, you have people literally think that somehow the police should have been the one to remove Karmelo Anthony. But then they still think that he would not have gone to jail for having a knife on school property. You can't make this up. He would have went to jail that day either way. Either way, he would have went to jail. The police had to get involved. Maybe they were doing Karmelo Anthony a favor by not calling the police. And why would that situation have to escalate to that point? You see the extreme measures in this that make no sense. Him having the police to have to come out there and tell him to move. And then they find out he got a knife and then they lock his ass up either way. Because he shouldn't have it. No. These same clowns will get mad because Austin called the police, not because Karmelo Anthony violated school policy bringing a knife. Somehow a 17-year-old needs to take a knife to a track meet at a high school campus when his ass did not have to be there. And he's suspended. So if you suspended, I grew up in a home where you were also simultaneously punished. You were put on punishment. You get suspended from school, you get put on punishment. So you're not leaving the house. You're not going anywhere unless you got to go. And you got a doctor's appointment, something like that, you're going. If you got suspended from school, you can't go outside and play. You got in trouble from school, you in the house. That was the punishment, was to be stuck in the house. So how is he suspended from school and his parents still let him go to a track meet? No, you on punishment. What you mean? Give me car keys. Give me your phone. I want your tablet. I'm taking that game. All the luxuries of life that you claim you working so hard for, you got suspended from school. Now give me all that. You ain't going nowhere. You on punishment. You got to go to work. No? Okay, we take your ass to your room. What's going on now? Maybe I'm just old school because parenting for me, my kids have never been. I don't think my kids ever been suspended. I don't think my kids ever been suspended. And if they get suspended, they on punishment. That works hand in hand. You don't reward bad behavior. How does this go? Now kids get suspended and they still get to go out and go to track meets and have fun. What you mean?
This was confirmation bias. Anybody who came to them with that narrative, they were willing to give a platform and were willing to allow them to raise money on their behalf and to exploit what happened to Austin Metcalf at the hands of Karmelo Anthony so that everybody could benefit. This is what desperation smells like. So this chick right here, Thelma Louise, I don't remember her full legal government name. We're just going to call her Thelma Louise. This chick, I remember when she came out and started making all kinds of inflammatory statements, calling the courthouse a slaughterhouse. I was like, here we go. We got another race bait and grifter here. When it's obvious race had nothing to do with this case, you have someone that's going to echo the sentiment of racism and bias and prejudice. And that's the narrative that they wanted to drive home, thinking that was going to be enough to shield Karmelo Anthony from accountability. But guess what? It didn't work because y'all are like the boy who cried wolf. You've been crying and whining and screaming racism for so long that the vast majority of the American public.
Well, that is a punishment. You get suspended from school and you forced to watch soap operas. Oh my God. Y'all. I'm going to tell y'all something right now. This is how I ended up falling in love with the Golden Girls. Not that I got suspended from school. My grandmama didn't let me watch all this stuff that, kids watching nowadays. We didn't have all that. So me going outside was like the highlight. Boy, me and the kids in the neighborhood would make plans for the whole week. So today we're going to play street ball. Tomorrow we playing kickball. Then the day after that, we're going to climb 3 trees. And then after that, we're going to do jump rope. We had the whole week planned out to go outside and play. And you sitting here like, I can't go. What do you mean I'm on punishment? I'm scheduled to go play kickball. And then you got to be stuck in the house. You can't watch cartoons. You can watch bad TV. Could watch it. Oh man, all the stuff I love watching. X-Men 97. Couldn't watch none of that. And then I got to sit here and watch soap operas. That's how I ended up liking the Golden Girls. Because it was like one of those, it wasn't a soap opera, but oh man. Like if I had to choose between General Hospital and the Golden Girls, yeah, the Golden Girls win every time. When you said Days of Our Lives, oh, you're taking me back. Oh, memories. Memories. Hey, y'all, we're going down memory lane right now. Oh, my God. Days of Our Lives. General Hospital. Oh, it was like a couple others. Then Dawson's Creek came out. And that was like a soap opera. Beverly Hills 90210. Oh, man. Then, of course, you had Martin. And then Fresh Prince. Then you had Mad TV. In Living Color. Oh, child boo. They're the worst thing that could happen is you not watching no cartoons on Saturday morning. What? You gonna clean your room the whole time? Like cartoons come on between like 9 a.m. and like 12 noon. So you got these 3 hours where you're like, okay, I'm gonna eat a bowl of cereal and then let that last like eat real slow. I'm taking my time with this bowl of Captain Crunch. Sitting there in front of the TV, and you just, you like next thing it's like an hour and a half. And my grandma was like, "You still eating that cereal?" Yeah. This digestive system of ours is something else. Who got to digest? One life to live long. Oh, the Jetsons. Yo. Oh, man. Oh, my God. One life to live. Days of Our Lives. General Hospital. Y'all, I literally, I'm so glad I had an option. Then the Golden Girls. I was like, I'll watch Golden Girls. I don't watch it. Oh, my God. I'll watch the Golden Girls. I'm watching the Golden Girls. And I actually love that show. Golden Girls is iconic. I can't believe all 4 of them are dead. They're like, oh, man. Tom and Jerry, Bugs Bunny, Animaniacs. Yeah, we're going back. Shall I get in a couple episodes of Mickey Mouse Club? Whatever's on Nickelodeon. Oh. I love Lucy. Oh my God, Scooby-Doo, All in the Family. Man, look. Three's Company. Y'all, that would come on late too, so I would have to be up late. That was like a Friday night. That would come on like right with what's the show with the military? Oh, with Gover in it. Saved by the Bell will come on Saturdays, y'all. Oh my God. That man, Designing Women. Listen. Before Will and Grace, there was Designing Women. Then besides Saturday cartoons was like X-Men 97. Spider-Man. I watched Spider-Man. X-Men 97. Oh my goodness. MASH. There you go. MASH and Three's Company will come on around the same time frame. Then you had Good Times. Oh, let me tell y'all something. Home Improvement. Oh, y'all taking me back. Y'all, we telling our age right now. Mary Tyler Moore. That's all. I would catch that on the rerun. That. The Jeffersons, Sanford and Son. Those shows for me were like rerun shows. Then you had, the Apollo, a little bit of Arsenio Hall. Oh, come on, man. Come on now. Carol Burnett. Oh, man. Mama's Family. Can we give it up for Mama's Family? Oh, my goodness. Mama's Family and then Golden Girls and then Mama's Family. I was like, those two shows I would watch. No one had to tell me to watch that. You didn't have to force me to watch it. I wanted to watch those. Mama's Family and Golden Girl. Like them two shows, that's it. Me and my girl, we can watch it all day. Bewitched. Oh, come on. Y'all, before you had Will and Grace, you had Designer Women. Man, poor child. We could go on and on, y'all. We could go on. Happy Day. Don't forget about Happy Day. What you talking about, Willis? Y'all remember Webster? Webster would come on Saturdays. Facts of Life. Family Matters. Oh, come on now. 91 Jump Street. Somebody said Silver Spoons. Oh my goodness. Sinbad Show. Yes. Steve Harvey Show. That was pretty funny. You can't make this up. Goodness gracious, friends. Alf, and what was it, the dinosaurs one? What was the dinosaurs? Y'all, Alf was just like, that was a late night show. Had to sneak up for that one. Alf would come on around 11 something. And then was it Harry and with the one with the Bigfoot one? I would even watch Coach. Y'all remember Coach? Oh, God. Coach, give me a break. The Paddock Dude Show. Get out of here. Oh, man, that's so old school. Y'all remember Webster? Webster was, honey, that was my little crush, Webster. Then Saturday mornings, we had Power Rangers, and I was just crushing on the Green Ranger. That boy was so cute. No, the Black Power Ranger. It was the black one. And then they had the white one come in with the little ponytail and stuff. He was so cute. All right, that's my side. I need to move on. All right, we gotta go.
Are not buying it anymore, and it's not working. And so you retain the services. And when I say retain the services, I'm not saying that there's some contractual relationship between this Thelma person and the Karmelo Anthony family, but it is obvious that she was given license to speak on behalf of the Karmelo Anthony family. And she was speaking. It's funny how none of these legal minds were secured and retained as a part of his legal defense. But after the fact, everybody who had something to say that somehow is the opposite of the story that the defense showed, or should I say, told us in court, now all of a sudden these legal minds want to speak and tell us what this is really all about. I'm saying here that the Karmelo Anthony family has surrounded themselves with a bunch of miscreants. Yep. And criminals and people who have a very sketchy past, and it makes you wonder,
tell it like it is,
why
girl.
would a family who claims to be so upright and whose son didn't do nothing and him was a good boy and he was just out here saving lives every weekend from little kids who drown in pools? I'm not saying that he didn't do that, but this is the narrative they're trying to present. Why is it everybody surrounding this case on your side of the courtroom are all criminals or people who are damaging your credibility, and y'all ain't got the sense enough to see it and cut these people off and say, look, we appreciate you wanting to help, but you got way too much going on with yourself. It's like they've done no due diligence. They weren't interested in saying, are these good people and are these going to be good people to represent my son? They didn't care. They're just like, can you be loud? Can you scream racism over and over again and to where people believe it? This is why I believe they allowed Charleston White to jump on the bandwagon and get in where he can fit in. He's another race hustling, illegitimate grifter that we're gonna watch him flip-flop, right? Like, so he comes out the woodwork, all of a sudden he's Team Karmelo, And then when he didn't get the payday that he thought he was going to get, or when him and the Karmelo Anthony family could not negotiate, I guess, a fair exchange for his race grifting, race hustling services, now all of a sudden he wants to cut them off and say he is no longer associated with the Karmelo Anthony family. This whole family is a bunch of shysters.
I'm off the Karmelo Anthony case. I ain't put no goddamn money toward that boy. His daddy too goddamn weak for me. I don't like a weak. His dad ain't willing to die, kill, or go to jail for nothing. That still wants some bills paid. Karmelo, my heart go out to you if you ever see this video one day. I'd rather stand with the Jeff Metcalf than I would with Karmelo's daddy. Weak, dark side is conservative. I ain't standing with no weak ass black man. I'm off the case. I'm sending the money back. Go get them weak ass Benjamin Trump here. I'm out. Call content. I gotta make content over here for the Karmelo fans. Then I gotta make content over here for the Metcalf fans. Then I gotta make comment for the hate racist heart people. So I gotta make something for everybody. He don't know what he wanna do. I make something for everybody. I say Karmelo, I say Jeff, I make something for everybody. So I got fans. So guess what? My views go up, my engagement go up. Now if I just stayed over here with Karmelo, I'm gonna lose people. Aiden Ross hate Charleston. He's a murderer. I can't have Aiden mad at me. That's my nephew. Then I got my other people over here. Man, you ride with the white folk, man. Listen, the white man came in peace and love at first. I was with him at first. Were you with the white man at first? Yeah. I came and got with the nigga. I satisfied everybody. Now it's time for me to make money off everybody I'm satisfied. Don't get mad, nigga. I'm finna have some free Karmelo shirts. I got the watermelon felon shirts for the Metcalf people. I'm finna have free Karmelo, no touchdown, no peace. I'm finna have them shirts for the poor niggas that want to beg for something. I got something for everybody. I swear to God I do. Everybody can get it. Anybody can get it. Everybody got it.
Can y'all imagine me trying to cover this? Oh, child. I would have had a headache. This would have given me a headache. Sometimes, Lord, we thank you. God. You can't make this up. Did y'all see that damn t-shirt? I don't even know. I mean, how do you take him seriously if he doing this? He telling people like, nah, I'm playing both sides and I'm just doing this for money. I'm just weaponizing the death of a young man at 17 years old. Because, he wouldn't want anybody to do that with his son. Charles White got a son that's around that age. Does he not? Look at this damn t-shirt.
Karmelo shirts. I got the watermelon felon shirts for the Metcalf people. I'm finna have free Karmelo, no touchdown, no peace. I'm finna have them shirts for the poor niggas that want to beg for something. I got something for everybody. I swear to God I do. Everybody can get it. Anybody can get it. Everybody got it. Anybody can get it.
And it's sad because there is a 19-year-old young man's life that has to pay the price because of his family's ignorance, negligence, and inability to shepherd the resources that were handed to them.
Before the American Revolution, our founding fathers considered themselves slaves of the empire. And then Thomas Jefferson read John Locke. And he said that our freedom was not given us by the king. It was an unalienable right given us by God. It is irrevocable, non-transferable, and unsellable. Founders understood that. And this is why, at the end of the Declaration of Independence, they put, we pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. They said they would die before they be slaves. I won't just die before I be a slave. I'll kill before I be one. So all y'all out there to say you have no choice, but the founders showed you. It's Patrick Henry that said, give me liberty or give me death. And on that fateful night when George Washington had to cross the Delaware River in the ice and the snow, or the American Revolution would be lost. They said, General,
what movie is this? Who is this talking? This goes on for a long time, does it? What the? Who is this talking? He said he was a businessman. This is crazy. Y'all hit that like button. Who is the guy talking?
What are the passwords?
Who's this? Anybody know who he is? Child? He's supposed to be another televangelist. How much you paid for that suit, Pastor? Bishop. How much you paid for this suit and tie? You mean to tell me you got all dressed up to do this video? I didn't cover it so you all asked me to. He got dressed up for this.
He said victory or death. Either we're successful tonight or we all die.
Vince Everett Ellison.
That's the idea of a free man. And I am a free man. So all you out there that believes that someone has to give you your freedom, you're admitting that you're a slave. If you come try to take my freedom away, God has given me the right to defend myself. And I got two things that'll get you off of me. That is Jesus and my 38. Slave is a choice.
What? Y'all, I am in the middle of a crowdfunding campaign for my documentary, as you can see here at the bottom, Slavery is a Choice. And the people who have bought into this project and who believe in the work that Vince Everett Ellison and myself are doing have given us their money.
He said victory or death. Either we're successful tonight or we all die. That's the idea of a free man. And I am a free man. So all you out there that believes that someone has to give you your freedom, you're admitting that you're a slave. If you come try to take my freedom away, God has given me the right to defend myself. And I got two things that'll get you off of me. That is Jesus and my 38.
April. 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 It just tickled me. I don't know. April, you in this movie, girl? Why is he yelling? Why is you yelling, Bishop? You look like a bishop. Oh, Lord have mercy. I just wasn't expecting that, okay? All right, Bishop, get your 38. Okay. Why that took me off guard.
Choice.
Y'all get your 38. Yeah, okay.
Y'all, I am in the middle of a crowdfunding campaign for my documentary, as you can see here at the bottom, Slavery is a Choice. And the people who have bought into this project and who believe in the work that Vince Everett Ellison and myself are doing have given us their money because they are expecting us to take this donated money. Like, this is not our money. They are expecting us to do with it what we said we were going to do with it, which is to produce a film. How is it that these people had no problem raising all of this money for legal fees and all sorts of other things, and then when it came down to hiring and retaining competent legal counsel for their son, all of a sudden they ain't got no money for the appeal? So we're like, well, where is the money? No money for the appeal.
And they
were just doing what they were told to do, but they have not given an account for what they've already done with the first batch of donated funds that they received. Where did all of the money go?
Isn't that now they're under investigation for that, right? I think a couple of you all said that. They're now under investigation for this. Yeah, he just tickled me, y'all. I was not expecting that ending at all. The movie looked good. That's why I'm like, who is this a movie? It actually looked really good. The visuals on that is pretty good. Pretty good. He just took me off guard. I was like, hey, bro, is that her husband? Is that her husband? What's his name? Is that her husband? This right here, this scene right here was really good. I was like, oh, this is pretty badass. George Washington was badass. I mean, he was. You got the founding fathers. That wasn't. The movie looks really good. He took me off. In my 38. I was not expecting that. All right, April, do your movie, girl.
You cannot convince me that over $500,000 that was raised, that you didn't see that it would make sense to keep that money for his legal defense. But instead,
they've been investigated for now.
Mark Howard charged you to defend Karmelo. One, I hope
the little minister of justice said $75,000 in his interview. So unless he lied, you take away $634,000 from minus $75,000. Whatever was left, because they may have reimbursed him for the bond too. Plus, they got to pay his dumbass, that minister of justice. They paid that clown, because how else is he making money? So he probably paid the bond up front. Just like he said, when it comes to anything else, the organization fronts up the cost of the pathology. It's like $10,000, and we get it back on the back end. So his whole main goal is, let's get a GoFundMe going. Let's get whatever attention we can bring to this. And then that way the donations will come pouring in. That way you can pay me back and my fee. I don't understand. He reached out to them. And this is the scam about this minister of justice and people like him. The whole grift is because they don't want to get jobs. Let me go out, insert myself into this situation, but then say, well, we're trying to do the work to help get justice, but we need money for that. And then they go and they ask their platforms and stuff, their whole supporters and whatever, to fund them to come out and yell and scream about your case. As opposed to them going to the right people that can actually get real results. No, they want to, it's like they're charging you to come out to try to protest about something going on with your case. But yet they're the ones wanting to insert themselves in that. This Dominique person reached out to them. So why would they give him money? Logically speaking, right? Theoretically, you calling me saying, hey, I want to help bring attention to, your lawsuit against Candace. However I can assist you with that, and you reaching out to me. Don't ask me for no money. I don't care if you need to sit here and get a hotel and you want to make signs and set up events. You call me. But they go back and they create all these GoFundMes. And then they go back, create channels and social media, and then they ask their supporters to fund them to do something they call you to volunteer their time to do. Because they don't have to do this shit. Let's be honest. They don't have to come out and do any of that. They don't have to insert themselves into this situation at all. But yet they want to raise money because they don't want to get a job. They don't work either. This so-called Dominique, this minister of justice, that clown, has a fake company, so to speak. Because that LLC, the EIN number is allegedly expired. He has not filed taxes since 2020. So you have no idea how much he's bringing in, what his expenses look like, none of that. But he wants to come off like he's legitimate, talking about it's a registered 501c3. But your EIN is invalid. You're still raising money against that EIN. So you're using it to get money and get grants, but you're not filing taxes to the IRS. Because it's been since 2020. It's 2026. We should have seen tax years 2021 to 2025. So he's not reporting any of this to the IRS. Why? If it's legitimate, why would you not file your taxes? That's scamming 101. You're not going to report your scam to the IRS. And yet he inserts himself into a situation to say all this racism and blah, 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 blah. And everybody come here and get all excited and get mad and get all your fake outrage out. Come out and walk up and down the streets and not learn laws or how juries are selected. Like, forget all the stuff you really need to know. No, never mind. Just say it's racist. Put a sign and a t-shirt on and a hat. And then he go back there to about, well, I'll bond them out, but it's going to be like, you got to give me back the money plus an additional $5,000, $10,000. You called us, but they didn't do that. They didn't say kick rocks. You shouldn't have reached out to us. You want us to give you money to do something you called us to do? Kick rocks. Are you a bar licensed attorney? No. Well, kiss my ass. What do you mean? I don't need all that. They didn't even think like that. They're just like, we just want to get attention on this. But look at the type of attention that you garnered. And you got this fake ass minister of justice that doesn't care. He's just getting attention by any means necessary. Because narcissists don't care. They like negative, positive attention. They don't care. And now all of a sudden you can't be fired from something you weren't hired for. So this whole time, what were you? You were a distraction. Came in, stirred up the waters, ignited this racial tension, just so he could say, I can't be fired from something I was never hired to do. Oh, okay, cool. So you shouldn't be doing anything like this ever again, you would think, right? No, because it's too much like right. And he doesn't want to get a job because of reasons. He's a convicted felon.
Y'all paid him in full and y'all don't owe him any money. But the question is, how much did it cost and where's the rest of the money? Because all I can see is a bunch of crooks or people with really sketchy past. Everybody is hitching their wagon to this Karmelo Anthony story. And the more y'all want to convince us that it was racism, hatred, and bigotry as to why he didn't get a fair trial, it's starting... The truth is coming out and nobody believes y'all. This is some hood rat ghetto foolishness. You got an attorney here who is not even eligible to practice law in the state of Texas.
Wow.
Who has got this disciplinary action against her. This chick used to be the former ADA in Dallas County and got wrapped up into some PPP foolishness where she misrepresented what she was using PPP loan funds for. And then not only that, you got Dominic Alexander, who you've not cut off. He's still associated with you. And then you had Charleston White. So I want to show you guys this other clip that further explains how these people are trying to present themselves as some victims, but they keep they're the ones that made it worse for their son, not just by the company they keep and the people that they had connected to this case, but how I'm telling you, the lead attorney breaks it down. Listen to this.
On how Karmelo Anthony's family has actually costed Karmelo extra years in prison. So many extra years. You wanted me to expound on that further because you had not heard anyone make that point. Well, that's why I'm here. I'm giving you the perspective, not of a YouTuber reacting to news, but of an attorney who's practiced for more than 20 years. This is behind the scenes info. So let's get to it. Now, let me explain on how Karmelo's mother basically sentenced her own son Karmelo to an extra 10 to 30 more years in prison and what she can do about it now to try to fix it. I explained in my last video that Karmelo's mother apparently hired a family spokesperson, one Dominique Alexander. This Dominique calls himself a minister of justice, whatever that is. Dominique is a convicted felon. He's alleged to have beaten his girlfriend. Then he got a new girlfriend. And when that girlfriend left out of the apartment, the good minister grabbed that woman's 2-year-old baby and shook him until that baby got brain damage. The good minister pled guilty in that case to felony charges and was in prison. Now, this is the man that Karmelo's mom chose to speak on Karmelo and the family's behalf. The good baby shaking minister. The minister did exactly what you would expect a convicted felon to do when handling Karmelo's case. He absolutely destroyed it. How? He ostracized the most important person in Karmelo's case. Now, who is that? Is that the judge? No. Is that the prosecutor? No. The most important person alive in Karmelo's case is actually Jeff Metcalf, the father of the young man that Karmelo Anthony killed, Austin Metcalf. The father, Jeff Metcalf, is the linchpin to Karmelo's entire future. Let me tell you that in a murder case where the victim is gone, the case lives on through the victim.
Is the mother alive? Like, where is the Metcalf's mother? Where's the mother at? I haven't seen her or anything. What's her name? Who's the mom? Does anyone know the mom? Thank you, Juju. Your rainwater diabolical. Yeah, he did. That's the one we watched the other night. He's such an idiot. Megan? Are they married? There's just an emphasis on the father. I'm just curious to know if the mother's there. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, I haven't heard about her. I haven't followed this like that, but okay, she did divorce. Okay, cool. Okay. So she's done an interview. Okay, thank you, cheap lady. All right. I just want to make sure. Megan and Jeff are divorced. Okay. And she was at the trial. Thank you, Cheryl. All right. Well, as long as mom's there. That's all right. Okay, cool. All right.
Was next of kin. When a parent has to bury his child, everyone looks at that parent to gauge how to react. Judges consciously and subconsciously look at the parent's facial expression when they are testifying on the witness stand. Prosecutors run all their plea offers through the parents. Reporters knock on the parents' doors for statements, and they aim their cameras at the parents when the verdicts drop. And the jurors, oh my goodness, the jurors hang on every word of the parents. Notice every little movement, every gesture. In this case, Jeff Metcalf, the father, is not just a spectator in the case. He's the conscience of the entire community. If you win Jeff, you win all the sympathy. But if you alienate him, you can go to prison.
So the reason why I wanted y'all to listen to this is because this was one of the initial things that I said when I saw that press conference where Dominique Alexander was doing all of the talking right after Jeff Metcalf attempted to come to the press conference to pray and say, hey, let's not make this about race. But instead, the Karmelo Anthony family allowed Dominique Alexander to speak on their behalf. I knew it was over. I said, and here's the thing, I'm not even an attorney. I don't even have paralegal experience. But if I was on the defense team, I would have told the Karmelo Anthony family, look here, we're going to defend you and we're going to defend you vigorously. Here's what we need you to do. Not only are you going to pay for Austin Metcalf's funeral, you're going to send some flowers. You are going to reach out to the Metcalf family, offer your condolences, offer your sympathy, and you're going to write a nice big check. That's what you're going to do. And then we need to hear, not just from you, the parents, but we need to hear from Karmelo, a speech that we will write for him, but we need it to sound sorrowful, with a contrite heart, and with lots of tears, because that is going to help your defense. We may not be able to get your son off, but what we can probably alleviate is the severity of his sentence. That is what you want. Everybody ain't on your side right now, and the best way for us to get people on your side is if we can get the Austin Metcalf family to, at least at minimum, get a sense that you are sorrowful for what you've done and that you didn't mean to kill him. And that is going to play and have so much weight during the trial. That's what we need you to do. Do I make myself clear? Yep. That would have been the terms and conditions on which I would have been willing to defend Karmelo Anthony. Yep. I would have been like, you do realize you about to pay for that funeral. You are absolutely about to pay for the funeral.
And the repay.
Now, like I said, I'm not an attorney, but I'd be looking for ways to demonstrate through actions, not just words, that my intent was never to kill Austin, and that this was a situation in one split second I made there was a poor sense of judgment, but that I am so broken up and heartbroken over what I've done that I'm trying to figure out, what can I do? I can't bring your son back, but maybe this token of peace is, or an olive branch or something. And then the last thing I would have done is listen to what the father said. If the father said this ain't about race, it ain't about race. It's absolutely not about race. I would have been able to squash any sort of narrative that somebody would have wanted to bring up, and me and the father would have been on the same, united front. Don't bring race into this. That is not what this is. But did they listen? No, they didn't listen, because they knew Karmelo Anthony was as guilty as sin. And instead of, like the Bible teaches, for us to come repentant, remorseful, full of humility, and laying our sin down at the foot of the cross.
That's right.
Instead, they doubled down in pride and in arrogance and in entitlement and made themselves out to be the victim. How do you have this kind of advocacy around you is beyond me. But it was at this moment that I realized that Karmelo Anthony's fate was sealed, because the people around him weren't thinking about him. They were thinking about themselves. They raised money off of it, a lot of money at that, and everybody was getting a piece of the pie, from Dominique Alexander to Charleston White to this other Thelma Louise character. Everybody was eating off of Karmelo. And at the end of the day, Karmelo one day is going to wake up and realize that these people didn't give a darn about him.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share this context with you in terms of the fact that each of the characters that have been associated with the Karmelo Anthony case on the side of Karmelo Anthony, they're all corrupt in some way. And the question we need to ask ourselves is why? Why would a family not have sense enough to vet these people and say, no, get away from us. You stay away, and you absolutely got to stay away. This is not who we are. We don't even want to associate ourselves with people like you unless they are just like the company they've been keeping. That is my argument. These people are just like the company they've been keeping, and they force us to arrive to that conclusion because they won't cut these jokers loose. They won't even issue a statement to say, we distance ourselves and completely disavow. And I don't know how these people decided to hitch themselves to our wagon, but they've not done that. They have not renounced any of these people, but instead they have been trying to figure out how much money can you raise and can we get a cut? Everybody's in on this grift. So I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Leave me your comments and your thoughts down in the box.
I wholeheartedly agree. Shout out to April Chapman. Girl, we love you. Thank you for telling it like it is. And I appreciate you all so much for tuning in. I just wanted to make sure, we went over this information and what to expect with this appeal. And if things don't go the way that people expect it to go, they're going to be even more whole nonsense with that it's going to come down to, oh, well, yeah, it's still so flawed and everything's so racist. It's like, no, you gotta, at some point, it should be the emphasis of ensuring that justice remains impartial, neutral, and fair, because if it's the other way around, they would still be crying things are racist if it didn't go their way according to the law. He had a fair trial, and he was convicted of murder. He got 35 years. Like I said, I think the letter of the law should have been appealed. Yeah, I think he should have gotten, 50 to life or life without. I think he should have got life without parole. But that's, they would want that if it were the other way around. So all this fake outrage and race baiting, that stuff don't work in court. And people will realize the hard way when they see that it's taken about almost a good year to get an appeal going. And then they realize, oh man, he might not even get an appeal granted. So, like I said, this dream team, attorney team, whatever they are, were MIA this whole time until now. Because really, it's like just dividing up the paperwork. You get this stack, you get this stack, you go through this, you go through the videos, and just kind of going through to see if there were any legal errors or inconsistencies or something to that extent, to where it's material to the case that the appellate court will look at and say, okay, cool, we're going to go ahead and grant, a retrial on this or that, or just the whole thing altogether. Like, they're going to have to be compelling based on the finding, of those legal errors, not based on their feelings and emotions. So, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Shout out to April. Y'all support her movie. It looks good. The dude caught me off guard. He does look like a televangelist. I don't know if that's her husband or not, but more power to you, girl. You're doing it up, honey. So I appreciate you all. We got a Candace live stream to get to, and then that's going to be it. So make sure you guys hit that like button and hype this up at the conclusion of the live stream. And if you can, join me in the Candace live. If not, I will see you all on tomorrow. And until then, that's not her husband. Okay, cool. Thank you. Until then, Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.